Hey, welcome to episode 103 of the PoddyC. This week we're joined by the one, the only, the Roger Brown. Hello, welcome.
Hello, glad to be here.
So, for those who haven't heard Roger talk before, he's over at Echo. What's your job over there now? It used to be Hunter, now it's you're kind of like half raid leader. You were like one of the two when you were splitting into the 10-player groups on Alleria, right?
Yeah, honestly, just a lot of hats, like kind of supporting in many ways from the outside, a little bit of strategy, looking at improvements we can make, maybe some weak auras or add-on stuff, let's say, as well, and
Those
just whatever
now.
is needed.
Those aren't in the game anymore, so
true.
got
Yeah,
that one down.
Yeah, I didn't spend any time on that, but yeah, it's just mostly a little bit of everything, you could say, but I am focusing quite a lot on the strategy part, I would say.
Awesome. So
and I'm back this week too. You replaced me with Preach in the week I was gone.
That was a dramatic upgrade, I'll say, but he wasn't available to be a permanent host, so
yeah,
we'll take what we can get. Anyways, this week, me and Dorki, we're gonna chill, we're gonna be here, but mostly I think this is gonna be a big opportunity for Max and Roger, you guys as enemies, nemesis, to talk about level any cheating accusations or anything like that you guys want to get done on this. And
did you say cheating accusations?
Yeah, I'm just saying if there's any drama we want to start, now could be a good time.
I'm very curious about all the drama or whatever you guys have to unfold.
So there wasn't really any drama this race, right?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Like I feel like I mean the beginning of last expansion was like the final boss of drama, right? It was like the rep bans and then the fired up thing, right? It was just like constant drama during that. I think there was like exactly zero drama, right? I think.
Yeah, actually, we've been slacking a bit on it. Like the people are getting bored. Like we need to stir up something at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that. I think Scripe actually messaged me that one time. Like, I shouldn't like spoil that, but like, he was like, there was some actual drama going on. He's like, "Hey, this isn't a bad idea. Do you want to like maybe get some of this going?" I'm like, dude, they'd see right through that. Like, there's no way. But it does go hard though. Like, I think, like the people who like the race, as much as it sucks, I think for the people involved, when there is like real drama, people like love that shit. They eat it up. All right, Dratty, what do you want to know about first?
I guess I just want to say, like, first of all, thank you, Roger, for coming on the show. I feel like this is the hardest. Like, I don't know, you guys have lost 4 in a row now, including these last 2, which genuinely, I think 24 hours before the end of both of these last 2, I thought you guys were going to win, and so I imagine this is like, I don't know, just like the worst feeling time ever. So I think it's just a big thank you for coming and talking, because I'm not going to name any names, but I know there are some raid leaders of some Race to World First guilds that get very grumpy when they lose and go into months-long periods of not talking. I'm not naming any names. I'm not naming any names.
Well, he's clearly okay. First of all, this started, I think the first time we did this. So most of these aren't on stream, but we've been having conversations within like a week or 2 of races ending for a very long time. I think the only one we didn't was Razageth, to my knowledge. But like,
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I remember calling you. Well. Yeah, I remember calling you after Sanctum because we were all at Topgolf and we were driving back from Topgolf. Do you remember talking to a bunch of raiders in the car on the way back?
I remember, yeah.
Like right after Sanctum, and like, so like it sucks being the person. Okay, well, losing like really sucks, right? But like, it is kind of cathartic to talk out the race in a lot of ways, I think, for everyone. Even so, this has been happening for like when? Wait, hold on. When the fuck was Sanctum of Domination?
2021.
Oh, 5 years ago. Okay, yeah. So this has been going on for quite a while. But yeah, I mean, I obviously don't envy the position he's in. It's especially with it being that close. Did you have like a question that was kind of going with that, or did you just wanted to acknowledge that it's hard? Yeah. It's hard doing what he's doing, and
that's the thing. Is like, I don't know. It's tough. I am reminded of Limit back in BFA. You guys went on like a generational close losing streak where it was like Gahoon. You kind of had that similar thing where it's like you had 16 hours to like pull the boss where you knew you were probably going to win and then you didn't. And
Oh yeah.
like
Except the Gahoon thing was more like, I think it didn't really hit us then because we were just so amateur that we had no idea what we were doing, that I don't think it hit as hard.
and then
I don't know if
Ajara,
that makes sense. Oh yeah,
like you get owned a little bit on Jaina, and then Ajara, you're also really close. You get there first, and you know, a combination of like nerf timing and boss just difficulty, and end up losing that one as well, right? So it's like, I don't know. I know there were a lot of people who were basically like, oh, this race is not close. Method are going to win every time going into Nyalotha, and that was foolish and wrong and discounted how great you guys were. And
they were right. It wasn't close, but the other way around. Yeah.
And I basically just want to say the same thing like this time is it. Anybody who just looks at the results of the last 4 races and are like, oh, it's not close anymore, it's not interesting anymore, it's like you are missing out on just how good, you know, Echo are and how much they have raised the bar every single tier. Just, you know, things have broken the wrong way for them on a couple of these.
I mean, you could argue that these are coming off 2 of like the very best. It's like these 2 races and Amir Drasil are like the 3 best races ever, and 2 of them were just back to back. And yeah, I've seen that in my chat the last few days. They're like, do you guys think that you having won a lot of races consecutively is bad for the race? And I don't really understand that. Also because Echo has gone on a 3 race winning streak within like, I mean, it wasn't even that long. It was Sanctum, Sepulcher, and Vaulting Incarnates, right? And like, I guess maybe people were asking similar questions. I don't know if you guys ever heard that, where it was like, if you guys keep winning, is that going to be bad for the thing? But the thing is like, that's implying that like there's a team winning and like no one questioned along the way if that was the case. Like I genuinely think like even if any guild went on a long streak, but there was a day like the last 2 days on the last boss, or a day like Dimensius, there's no way you can't watch that. It's impossible as a viewer to not be interested in that. So I think that's a little overblown.
I mean, just for good measure, though, we will make sure next time we win. So, you know, it's all good. But I do want to say, like, this one, like, because it was a bit of a similar feeling with Dementius, but this one in particular was a bit rougher for me, at least personally. I don't know how every person felt in the team. 2 reasons being, like, one, that when you guys went to bed, we had like a big window of time to close it out and didn't manage to. Whereas with Dementius, I felt like it was more, you know, we were steadily progressing. Like it didn't feel like we had as much of a time frame to like close it out, let's say. So felt a little bit more of a choke on our end, which feels worse. And secondly, right after you guys kill it, like the next pull I think we had,
0.1
was that was a 1% pull, and then like 30 minutes later we have a 0.1% pull, and I'm just like, you know, can we catch a break? Like something?
There's something at least cosmic going on.
Yeah, something is happening. Obviously, it's just, you know, how we played, but I don't know. It's just so close on a lot of these pulls. Gotta look back, you know, what went wrong. But there is a part of like, you know, as long as you just have this one pull where everything aligns, that's all you need. And Liquid seems to be able to do that better, at least the last couple of races when it was neck and neck. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys are just more... No. Maybe the sleep part as well, right? Like, because you guys were a bit more fresh.
I really want to ask that. Yeah, I really want to ask the sleep thing. But I actually, before you even go on, we had the exact same feeling as you. So it was you when you woke up and we did not kill the boss and we went to bed, where you're like, oh my God, we have this window of time. We have to kill the boss. We're going to win, right? We had that same feeling right away after seeing the secret phase, because as soon as you guys went to bed, we had this, I don't know exactly how long it was, but it was 4 p.m. I think, so it would have been 4 p.m. to midnight ideally, and then we rated 2 hours extra, where we thought the same thing. This phase, we did the math, which we could do the math, by the way. One important thing is that we actually saw the phase, so we could actually do the, like, in Rage, like, this is how long you have to kill the boss, this is how, in quotes, free the phase is. And we were under the impression pretty quickly we have to get to that phase with everyone alive. And I mean, obviously it was a little harder than that. And like, you don't really see that until you get there, but you're at that time, you're saying like, this is free. We have to get to that phase with everyone alive and we will win the race before they wake up. So we felt that same pressure. And we were positive when we went to bed that we lost because we were like, this is our window, right? And I think for you guys, you woke up and you felt like you had that window. And then when we started waking up, it was like, oh, now we're on a fucking time crunch. Where I think Demencius, it was kind of like that from the beginning of the day, right? Like the beginning of the day, the whole day was like, I mean, Roger and I messaged each other after the race. We're like, dude, I like literally never want to feel like this again in my life. Like this is fucking terrible. It was like the entire day. But this time it's like we both had our 8 hours or so of it's just about us right now and we can finish this right now. And both of us were unable to do that. And then it felt so bad. And then like when we woke up, it wasn't even confidence. Like, I don't know if you guys have felt this before where you've woken up and felt like you were going to win and whether that was true or not. We went to bed last night and we're like, hey guys, if we wake up and the boss isn't dead, we can win. But also it's very possible that we have lost. And if that's the case, like GG, like we played well, we have stuff we can work on, whatever. We like said this before going to bed. So when we woke up, it wasn't like, fucking lock in like GG, let's go into beast mode. It was like we might still lose, but let's like start pulling the boss. So because you guys were pretty low, you were getting to P4 like a lot. So we were like, I mean, dude, it's gonna take us a little bit to even get to that point. We had to do a comp change, right? Like yeah, so it was definitely, we felt that same like we felt like we choked as well in the tier 2.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, I might be like fully like this is bro science, okay, but maybe the feeling of like, okay, the other team just went to bed. We have so much time. Maybe it also gives, sure, like you're not stressed, but maybe you're too relaxed in a sense. You're like, oh, we have like 8 hours. Like, surely it's going to be fine. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's like hard to tell, but I was definitely expecting us to, let's say, get to P4 more consistently. On that last day, and didn't happen. I don't know. It's something to review for sure, but definitely very exciting race. No matter what, you know, you got the heart pumping again. But
were you watching? Yeah. Like, did you have both streams open the whole time while it was going on?
Well, I mean, a lot of the time you guys were asleep, right? So when you woke up, So what I do is if we are in a pool, if we get past P1 or, you know, past P1 intermission, then I would switch the tab away from you guys, right? And I would what we're doing, getting ready. Also, I had to raid lead in the P3.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't look, but yeah, if we had wiped, I was looking because also, you know, I wanted to see like what you guys are doing different, perhaps. Especially in P4, maybe P3, you guys, I don't know, right? Like you watch when you can, I guess. But yeah, I didn't have it open when I had to focus, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I never, but it's like Bubba's job, I think, to be like, oh, if they're doing something sick, we can copy it. But I can't have that like pressure in my mind. It just messes with me. Like when I had your all's 0.3 open last tier, it was on complete accident. And it destroyed my mind for like a while. And this tier, we were very vigilant. Like we've always been like, don't watch them if they're around the same pace as us or ahead. But last year, I mean, we had like 3 or 4 players do it, and all of them were like shitting bricks the whole day, and were clearly really anxious and stressed the whole time. And this tier, I was actually pretty proud. I didn't see a single person that had it open. Except for one, and it was like when we were on a break, and I think that's maybe like a little bit more acceptable than like when you're actively playing. So I was at least a little proud of that because of last year. I just felt like all of the swings that each guild had were so related to each other. Like a guild playing well made the other guild play bad, and a guild playing bad made the other guild play good. It was like symbiotic, and I just wanted to have that be gone.
Yeah, we'll discuss this. I don't know how many people were watching. One thing that was interesting is one of our players, I didn't hear this, but I was told that 2 hours after you guys killed it said, oh, guys, they killed it 2 hours ago. Like, he had no idea for 2 hours.
Dude, I respect that. That is crazy. That is my ideal raider, by the way.
I heard that comment. Yeah, it's like, guys, we lost 2 hours ago. I thought it was a bit. I thought he was joking.
It's like that one soldier that was stuck in the forest for those many years and like still thought the war was happening. It's kind of like that.
The Japanese guy. On an island.
Yeah, that's basically him. That actually goes so hard. I actually wanted to ask a little bit about sleep. So like what was your all's like general sleep schedule during there? Because I know like over time the guilds have like I think added, especially after Sepulchre, I think both guilds added like a straight up full hour extra in between raid end and raid start throughout the whole race. But I know you guys do different stuff around like resets, I think. Or is it all the same?
Well, so because of having to start at 5 a.m., and then actually the second week it was 6 a.m. because of the time change. But yeah, I guess you lose that hour anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't want to wake up every day 5 a.m. Like literally, like the bakery opens at 6:30. Yeah, like we need to have some food, you know. So we typically push a little bit forward, and then towards the end of the week, it's much easier when it's a 6 a.m. start. Actually, 5 a.m. is brutal. So yeah, I think typically we would start at 7 a.m. and then just on the Tuesday. I mean, this time it was free because, well, we didn't have anything really to do on Tuesday night in the first Mythic week. So we just end a bit early, and we still get like, I think it was even more. Like we had like an 11-hour break basically on Tuesday night until 6 a.m. So yeah, the idea was be as well rested as possible because all that matters is the second Mythic week. And then during the second Mythic week, I mean, we didn't do the full 10 hours. I think it depended on the day, but it was mostly like 9.5 or something like this. Like we don't cut sleep that much anymore. Let's just say, even when on the last day when we went to bed after you guys saw the Mythic phase, the Mythic only phase, I think we took a 9-hour break, which, old Echo would never have done this. We would have we would have gone like 6 hours and would go back in, but we did take a pretty long break. I don't know how many hours you guys took when you guys went to bed, but that's how we did the sleep.
Yeah, so we basically do very similar times. We have like 10 hours. The average is like 10 hours in between. We never go more than that during the race. But we did one time go less, and I'll explain that in a second. But our players are like pretty, even on resets, like if our reset is at 7 and there's only 1 hour of maintenance on the reset, we still wake up at 10. Because usually the reset times for like the very first week are usually the maintenance is like 11 or 10, and our players naturally wake up around 10 Pacific time all year. So we just kind of just rip 10. If it's up earlier, like, yes, you technically lose 3 hours on the reset, but we just feel like our players, if they had to wake up at 7, would just play whatever X% worse where that wouldn't be the case. Plus, you still get like full raid days, but I guess it is certainly possible at a certain point in the week. Like you would have lost by 2 hours and like had your entire schedule been moved up, maybe that would have been the case, but we just don't really believe in that. We kind of just do the 10 hours no matter what. We have a very strong players union where if we slept for less than that, we would all be killed. Like they are big fans of the 10 hours. We did 9 hours though. So when we stayed up till 2 a.m. thinking if we don't kill the secret phase tonight, we're going to lose. We instead only slept 9, but that did involve us waking up at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which was fairly late. And people were in Aya's stream, one of our casters, and they were like, guys, Echo is low. This is not like a few one guys. This is like her chat is like, go wake up the team now. Like go to their hotel, wake them up. They need to log in and play. And it's like, it does seem insane to take like a 9-hour break for, I think this is maybe the thing. I don't know if you agree with this. I think this is the thing viewers get the most wrong about the race is the need for breaks and the need for sleep. Like anytime any of those two things are involved and it seems like there's a time crunch, like, hey, 2 guilds are both pulling. Wait, you're taking a lunch break? That's just insane to people. They're like, how the fuck can you take a lunch break right now? You guys are waking up at 11 a.m. I don't care how late you stayed up. Like you're going to lose right now. Wake up. But it's like the way I look at it is you can't you're extremely unlikely to kill a boss that hard that requires that much consistency if X% of your raid is tired. And like, if you just choose to sleep for 3 or 4 hours, like you probably won't kill the boss in the entire day. Like, it's just not possible. It will just be too hard.
Yeah, I think it's also very possible that some people can perform just fine with less sleep or don't need as many breaks. The problem is you need 20 people to not make a mistake, because fights like this, you have one person dead, it's over. Like, so yeah, it's you got to go with what makes everyone comfortable, including the people that need the extra sleep. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, right? Like, you'll just have the same people messing up, and then they'll say, well, I'm just tired, and there's no outplay to that. So it is the best to go for that. But yeah, I would say I don't think the sleep played too much of a factor. I think more for us was like you've slept a lot, but then you're playing extra because you're going deeper into the night, because you're afraid that if you don't kill it, you're gonna. I'm guessing it's the same for you, right? Like when you pushed until like 2 a.m., those last couple of hours, sure, maybe the players were rested the night before, but now you've been playing for 16 hours. Like no matter how much you slept, it's gonna get a bit tiresome.
We messed. I mean, it's really easy to say we messed up in hindsight, but like basically we made the call at like 9 p.m. after we saw another secret phase, and it went decently well. We're staying up until this dies. So people were drinking monsters. They were slamming monster gum. They were making decisions that would not be good if you knew you were going to sleep at 2 a.m. And it was pretty clear that even with the caffeination and everything we were doing to help that around like 1 or 1:30, we're like, is it impossible if we sleep, we lose? Because I don't know if this is happening tonight, you know. And if you go too much farther past 2 a.m. this deep into a race, and especially in a race where I don't feel like a lot of viewers know how different this race was, as in these players have been preparing characters for like almost 2 months, all day, every day. It's been insane grind. It's been a bigger grind than there's ever been. So like they're all just really worn out, and yeah, I don't know. It's hard to imagine like that late into a night you're going to be able to pull together something here. And we made the decision to go to sleep, and you could even hear. I don't know if you listened to I do a interview at the broadcast at the end of each raid day. I went back and watched it, and I was like, man, when I did that interview, I kind of knew we were going to lose. And like, I wonder if it sounded like that. And I went and listened to it, and I'm like, it definitely sounds like I think we're going to lose. I was basically just being like, yeah, we played good, like all this shit. And then it wasn't over. So yeah, maybe I should be more like optimistic in the future. Cause actually our guildies were like, we're going to wake up and we're going to win. And I'm just sitting here like, no, the fuck we're not. And like, I didn't say that, but like, that's what I'm thinking. And I feel like that from like leadership, that's probably bad, but I don't know. It felt cooked.
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard to like, it's hard when you're in leadership and you need the troops to like see that you believe you're going to win. But then when you actually don't think that, right? Like, I don't know if you're trying to be honest with them.
It's not possible. To me, it isn't possible to like fake it till you make it or whatever, or like be a raw, like hype people up guy when you don't truly 100% believe it. I find that impossible to do personally.
Yeah, I think they'll know as well.
Question for you guys.
Well, let me just say one thing, okay? What was funny is like after you guys killed it, like me and Sky were like, oh man, like we've been in this situation before, like it's not gonna go good. Maybe we just call it and just sleep and go next day. But then we're like, okay, while we're discussing it, we make a couple of pools. Suddenly we have the 1% pool, the 0.1% pool, but then it starts going down a bit, and we're like, when do we call it? I'm like, bro, like after a 0.1, you're gonna go to bed. Like, how awful is that? But then we make a poll within the guild. We're like, okay, guys, do you want to go for the kill or do you want to go sleep? And the vast majority just vote to go for the kill. Meanwhile, Skype is like, oh, dude, like we should just go bed. You know, this is not it. So
that's so funny. I feel like that's the opposite of the community perception. Like, I feel like the community perception on Tindril was like evil, tyrannical Scripe is keeping his raiders up until 4 a.m. And so they assumed that was the same, but it's the exact opposite. You and Scripe are like, I feel like this just makes sense to go to sleep, and the raiders are like, fuck that, we're killing this boss.
Yeah, I didn't expect it, honestly. But yeah, I mean, there were like a couple of people, like 3 or so, that said we should go bed, but I don't know. The majority said, yeah, let's go. I probably because we had the 0.1 as well. Gets people thinking like, let's just kill it and then be done with it.
I mean, that also made us stay up till 2. Like, we were thinking like, okay, do we actually try to push tonight, or do we go to sleep early and like wake up early and like try to do a Demencius, even though that's a hard call to make. And then at 11:30 and 11:50, 2 pulls within 3, we have P4 everyone alive. And it's like 20 minutes before the end of your raid time, 10 minutes before the end of your raid time at that point. How do you like make the choice of like, let's go to sleep and potentially lose when we're consistently, and then it's, I don't know. That's why it's hindsight. It's so hard to make those decisions in real time.
But Dorki, you had a question. Sorry, I interrupted.
No. Yeah, it was good that you finished whatever you guys had to say. But I mean, the big question I have is, do you guys feel like the race is becoming unsustainable? Not just for you guys as players, but also for Blizzard too, right? Because, I mean, just look at this tier, for example. This tier has gone out of control. You guys leveled 20 characters, some even up to like 25, 26 characters. You're out here doing many splits. In fact, with Heroic Week, you guys probably could have done more splits because some of you guys were done by the end of Heroic Week, which just sounds absolutely absurd. And then there's also Mythic splits, right? Like Mythic splits was happening. And splits weren't just for feeding your main characters, but you guys were also having multiple mains, which is kind of like unheard of, right? Like normally you would just be feeding one character, but now you guys are also just like preparing multiple characters in the situation where you might want a certain comp that you need to fit. And then there's also like double vanticing boss, which is like absolutely wild. The whole add-on situation with you guys having like crazier add-ons than everyone else. And then there's also Lura, of course. Like they just made one of the craziest bosses of all time. And obviously like a lot of this seems like an overreaction to whatever happened in Void Spires, and Blizzard's trying to actually create an event, and they underestimated how much you guys were capable of, both add-on wise and just like whatever the tuning was at the time. So yeah, I don't know, like to me it seems like it's getting a little bit out of control at this point, this season in particular, but I don't know if you guys feel that way, or like at what point does that become actually unsustainable?
Well, this tier was weird, right? Like I feel like this, I truly feel like this tier is potentially, if you were to look at a 5-year span, is just going to be like a one-off thing. I don't know how often they're going to do this multi-raid thing. The last time they did it really was like kind of like 14 years ago. I don't know if they'll continue doing it. And even if they do, I don't know if one of the raids would be delayed. And I feel like it was kind of a perfect storm of just a lot of niche random things that made all of this happen. Like, I mean, you make another normal raid after this and there's no more Mythic splits. There's less characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know as far as it, I mean, it is kind of unsustainable. I feel like the race has been going on being basically unsustainable for a while, and our players are eventually just going to like not do this anymore. And like, we don't really know when that's going to happen. But as far as from like Blizzard's point, also, they just listened to Roger, by the way. Roger straight up called their entire shit. Like after week 1, he was like, the fuck is this, basically. And he's like, by the way, if you guys are going to make it challenging next week, maybe try to hit like 100+ pulls on Belo'ran instead of just like Belo'ran being easy and then the last boss being 600 pulls. You can split the two. And that's like exactly what happened.
Hey, I mean, everyone says that the race was really good at the end, so I'll take some credit for that. And I also apologize to anyone who got stuck on Belo'ran, but you got to pay a price sometimes, yeah? Yeah, on that, sorry, now I'm not answering Dorki, but I do want to say that I think it is important that a tier, like, I'm talking from a race to world first perspective, okay? I understand it impacts everyone else, but just saying purely for the race, if you only have one hard boss and it's the end boss, it also makes it that a lot less players get to play, a lot of less classes get to play. So I think it's always great when more bosses, at least one more, is very hard. So, would you have seen a Windwalker on Lura? Absolutely not. But you got to see him on Belo'ran, for example, or whatever it is, right? Like there's a lot more class representation. So I think it's good. It's also more interesting, So, hey, I'm glad I don't know if it was me that they listened to or they had planned it, but I'm very happy they did. Yeah, and for the unsustainability, I mean, I do agree. It is getting very crazy. It's been crazy for a long time, by the way, right? Like, this is not the first time. But yeah, it's always extra spicy with the new expansion because you have all the leveling to do on top. So that's an extra couple of weeks of just slamming World of Warcraft every day. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good time to maybe have some discussions between the guilds with Blizzard as well, if they're open to it, see if there is anything we can change for the future. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's unsustainable in the sense like we can always cut down on what we're doing and make it sustainable.
Well, would that ever happen? I guess is like the bigger thing I'm asking. Like, would you guys ever concede on something? Say, like, you guys come to a conclusion that, like, hey, like, we should probably have somewhat of an agreement on. You know how like race chatters always say this, like, why don't you guys just like do this or that?
I'll just say real quick. I think the answer is probably yes. Like we haven't had our like full raid post-mortem yet, but definitely we were hearing it from our players during the prep of this race. Like they were in the middle of it, they were going to do it, they were going to finish it, but this is the most negative feedback we've ever gotten from the amount of work we were asking them to do. And we basically asked ourselves as officers after the tier, like, I don't know, if we go into a tier with 2-3 less characters than another guild, you're going to have less eye level. It's really hard to explain, but like if you look at like a spreadsheet of like really what you actually gain by those extra characters, a lot of it is options, but also it's like a very slight amount of eye level. Like, can you still win with that? Yes. Is it harder? A little bit. And especially if there's a lot of bosses with a bunch of different comp requirements, I think that also you'd be hurt in that you'd have less coverage. But I'm actually interested in your question of this, Roger, of like how much value is those extra characters versus like finding out after the tier that like one of your best players quit, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
it's so hard to tell.
It definitely, you don't want to reach that point, for sure, where people start quitting because of this. So yeah, interested as well to hear the feedback. We haven't had the talks with all the players yet. I do think it will be definitely skewed for this tier because it's a new expansion. So perhaps an idea could be that, hey, maybe when it's a new expansion, we should consider it a bit more to like lower the numbers a little bit compared to a mid expansion tier. But yeah, a lot of discussions to be had. I don't know if there is a way that we can agree with something. I think I would say I personally am open to it, but it's a bit, hard to make sure, like, how do you even control this, right? Like, who is the person checking these things, right? Like, no one wants to really do that. But maybe we can have some good ideas if we put our heads together. And maybe also, like I said, right, like talking with Blizzard, maybe there are some things that they could do to alleviate some of the pain. Because, I don't know, like, you have all the characters, but then, hey, you need to do the Nightmare Hounds because they give you 20 extra crests past the cap. Like, what is that about, right?
Yeah.
There's, like, all these little things that add up. And, now you can farm your catalyst charges after you have the set. And one thing which, I don't know, I guess, to my knowledge, you guys didn't really go for it, was what we call the crest guys, where you have one character, you don't really use any of the crests on him. You farm all the heroic gear from M+, like 3 out of 6, and then you just needed like one mythic item, basically, to drop from the raid. And then I mean, it was complicated math. Like, I don't want to go through all of it, but you just needed a little bit from the raid. And then if you spend all of your crests and downgrade all of your mythic crests, then you could get the achievement. And therefore, then your main can upgrade everything for 50% off up to 276. Like, we went for that. That caused me a headache and a bunch of other people. I think it was worth it in the end, but I really wish it wasn't a thing we have to do. Let's put it like this. And also then you have like, now the crest guy, I mean, he's still 276. So maybe with a Vantus rune, his better character for Belo'ran compared to the main, and then you have your main for Lura. But then, hold on, how many of those characters do we expect to play on Lura? So maybe someone's main should also, like, the combination of Vantus and Crest guys. My head was about to explode when we were on the second week at the start. But yeah, like all of these things, I think, just don't help. Let's put it like this. So there is some parts where I think Blizzard can also make some few tweaks to remove a lot of that stress from the players.
Yeah, that's something that's always dangerous to say, because, like, you know, people would always like see that as like, oh, but then like the crest situation, the whole crest system is like amazing for everyone, right? Like, because like everyone enjoys having the discounts, but at the same time, it is quite abusable. In fact, like, even I have that discussion with a couple of friends talking about like sacking a character to do that. I mean, like, it wasn't just like a Race the World First thing too.
Yeah, I think there are a few like low cost things Blizzard could do. Like, if you run back this season and you're like, okay, they want to do this raid structure for narrative reasons and all this, you could just change Mythic so that instead of March on Caldenas being time gated on Mythic, it's gated behind being 7 out of 7 of the other bosses, right? And then it's like, that lets you zone into March. Now it's a little weird because it's like, okay, well, what if one, like, how do you set that up for characters, right? But like, if you make it so that the guild achievement, you know, lets you zone into March, for instance, of having Cutting Edge or Hall of Fame Alleria or whatever, and then it's like, there's that second week thing goes away, right? It's like you can get in there that first week, but only on Mythic. And then I think it'd be kind of cool, right? It's like, oh my god, they're seeing these fights. They can only do it on Mythic. They can't farm the gear from that on Heroic and Normal. That's not out yet. They get to see these fights like a week in advance. And it's like only the Race to World First guilds that can do that. And it's not like there are a lot of other guilds that are going to be killing Mythic Belo'ran anyways. They're like missing out on that opportunity. Nobody that can kill Mythic Belo'ran hasn't already killed Mythic Crown of the Cosmos. So it doesn't...
the hell, we're BOE farming, though.
Yeah, the BOE farm. That's true. The BOE farming could be lucrative. But you could also just not put a lieutenant before the first boss if you wanted to fix that. And then like down convert. Okay, when is it ever right to down convert a myth crest into a hero crest? Like when that button, you click that button either to abuse that case or because you're making a mistake, right? Nobody is ever like clicking that button and it's like good gameplay. So you could just remove the ability to down convert myth to hero crests, and like that is very low cost for the game.
Let me tell you when it's the correct choice in a way, right? Like if it didn't exist, this wouldn't even exist, what I'm about to say. But we had some main characters who spent their crests, their hero crests, in week 1 because we needed some extra juice for the Paladins and Alleria. So then they only had a few left, and then the next week you get 100, right? So let's say 120. Okay, now they have the other character, which he got the achievement on. So now everything is 50% off. But even like you have 120 crests, even if you double that essentially, like 240, that still was not enough to upgrade everything. So at that point, if you downgrade 20 mythic crests, you essentially get 2 upgrades instead of 1. So then it's the correct choice. But I hate that I even have to explain that, honestly. It should not be a thing. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I did a pretty exploitative downgrade this tier as well, but like, it's not, you know, it would be better if the game just didn't let you do that. So I think there are a lot of bigger picture things they could change, like the reward structure, the hunts and everything, and the release structure of the raids in general. But what I'm saying is there are a couple of like little surgical changes they could make that wouldn't affect anybody except for Race to World First players that would make the Race to World First better, and they should just definitely do those.
Yeah, I think also this is unlikely to be an issue, I think, for maybe until next expansion, and by then maybe things will be different. Because like let's just assume next raid is a one raid, like a one instance raid tier, and there's a simultaneous release. The chances of you being able to even have the time to do much of this is like extremely low, I think. Or just not going to work. So I don't think, like I said, this raid is this was a really unique raid tier. You're throwing in mythic splits, you're throwing in the last boss being delayed by a week because of lore reasons. Like I think really a lot of things had to go a certain way. The fact that we had a second heroic week basically with like a few mythic bosses you could kill, that'll probably never happen again. So like
Are you going to want to even have 20 characters during a simultaneous release? Even if you had the characters, would you even want to spend that much time doing that many full splits? Probably not, right? So like, I think a lot of that will naturally go down, assuming they still, I don't know if they've commented on it. I don't know if they're still on the like non-first tiers will be simultaneous or anything. Actually, what is your opinion on that after this tier, like Heroic Week?
Mine?
Yeah.
Honestly, there's negatives and positives on both ends. So it's one of those topics where I'm okay to leave it up to the devs to do whatever the community wants. Because I think, yeah, maybe, if there's a Heroic Week, the tuning might be better. Well, I don't know. Voidspire was not really tuned
that was
greatly.
wrong.
So that didn't happen. And then you're like, oh, but you get to do more splits in Heroic Week, so then you do less in the Mythic Week. I mean, let's not even talk about that, how that went this time. But okay, if it was only one raid, that would happen. But still, is that a good enough reason to do it? I don't know, because then the players are also playing an extra week. That also brings you down. Like, so I don't know. I would say whatever the community wants, I'm fine with. It's that's not the battle I want to use all my
Energy
political
for.
capital on. I have bigger goals to where I have to fight a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
what do you
global
guys
release.
think? Well, before that, like, what do you? I know you're kidding, but like what like from the community side, like, what is the opinion, even within high end guilds that are not in the race, about Heroic Week?
Dude, so I feel like I have a lot to say about this whole raid release schedule. I've actually been a massive fan of it, and like I personally wish I could. I mean, almost all of it, to be honest. So for one, the delayed release, or like the time gating, I'm actually a huge fan of it, because we talked about this a couple episodes ago, where I was basically saying how like I looked forward to only having 7 bosses to do on Heroic Week, right? Because normally, as a guild of my caliber, we normally do 3 splits of 9 bosses, or however many bosses are available, and we're kind of expected to just like try and rush them all down, right? But with there only being 7 bosses, in fact, I kind of wish they would even delay it even more, go even like a step further, and just make it so that like we have like 5 bosses available, and there's like a number 2 release, and then a number 2 release. That cadence feels much better and much more digestible as like a fairly high level raider. And like, even if I wasn't a high level raider, I've been raiding with my friends a lot, and it's really cool to like have something to look forward to. Like, it was really cool when we were like, oh shit, like March of Dratnos comes out next week, and then we have some new bosses that we can progress on, and the difficulty matches so much better too, because normally you're expected to go into these bosses with not full heroic gear, or like like less than optimal gear, but we were going into Dratnos with heroic gear, and it felt properly tuned for that. And it's like, for me, it's really fun to have heroic bosses that are tuned to be fairly difficult, and these are some of the most difficult heroic bosses since Sepulchre, probably. Like, we haven't really seen difficult heroic bosses since. And like, aside from that, there's also the whole the lockouts. I've always been a huge advocate of not having mythic lockouts tied to your raid, which I'm sure most people are, right. And this raid really, or this tier really goes to show how good that is. Being able to just go into Mythic Chimeras and not be locked to the rest of the bosses is so amazing. I wish they would just completely remove the whole Mythic lockout, but that's also one of those steps that would be terrible for the Race to War First.
Have you guys been splitting Chimeras, Dorki? Like,
yeah.
guild?
Well, we just do 2 splits, but more importantly, like for pugging Chimeras, or like when I'm just doing with friends, it's so much easier, because like nobody's tied to having to do Void Spire, or like like if you do the first 2 bosses, then you can't just like do Chimeras, right? Like if it was all in one.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I don't like the splits. I don't like the Chimera splits at all, and I think
splits in general. Yeah, I agree.
The reason you can split them is because it doesn't have the same lockout as the progression raid that week, right? Like, it'll be the same with Void Spire once you're done with that and you're working on Belo'ran or Alleria, right? Is like, I mean, I guess you could just ignore splitting it, but if they did this multiple tiers in a row, I think a lot more high-end guilds would start actually like requiring the alts to be good enough to split the mythic of the earlier bosses, which, you know, it's not like you guys do 3 heroic splits, but you only do 2 chimera splits. But I think if they kept doing this schedule, you guys would start doing 3 chimera splits, and then you'd be starting to do like 3 void spire, 4 of 6s. Like those sorts of steps would be, your peers would start doing it. They'd have higher item level than you. It's like, I don't know. I think a lot of
If
guilds
they
that
remove
didn't
the
do it this
lockout
tier,
in general, right? People would be doing more splits.
yeah,
Is
exactly.
basically what you're saying.
If
But I wouldn't want that
if
to
you
be
fully
the way.
free up the lockout, that does happen.
Yeah, but like I wouldn't want that to be the reason to stop us from having split lockouts. Because like
It is
I
nice
think
for
the whole
bugs,
lockout system
yeah.
just like absolutely sucks ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally, I hate anything that moves us more in the direction of more guilds doing splits, and I think this tier definitely does that. You can always make the argument like, oh, it's guilds doing it to themselves and stuff. And honestly, it's not like my guild actually did that much more splits. Like we've already been, you know, pretty similarly split pilled as we have been in the past. But I have, at least anecdotally, I've heard of more guilds doing more splits this tier, and that I'd love to see them like try and tackle that, and then you get the benefit of being able to do this without any of that downside. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the chimeras, the fact that it was also, I don't even know where you put it in the difficulty in Voidspire, but it's definitely on the lower end. I don't know if it's
probably second.
harder than Fallen King or easier than Fallen
Like
King.
third or
I'm not
fourth.
sure.
It's got to be easier
Yeah,
than
like
Fallen
around
King.
there.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think the fact that it was also quite easy makes it, and it drops some crazy loot as well. It's just, I felt like a world boss kind of, where you just go in there and get your loot and hope for gaze to drop.
Like a world boss.
It did, yeah. It's like a very lucrative world
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah, that's a little crazy, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not as easy as a world boss. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, we can just do whatever we want with this one. I mean, I've never imagined that I'm gonna do a boss 10 times on Mythic in 1 week. Like that has just never happened before. So pretty extreme. I don't think it's good for the race, at least. That's what I will say. I think, man, even for the heroic splits, I don't know if you guys had this issue, Max, but you get a helper for Voidspire, and then you reach Dream Rift, and they are locked on Dream Rift, and you have to replace them. And then here's the problem. Then you create the vicious circle, because the person you invite
Is now saved to that. Yeah.
it's only saved to Dream Rift, and then they want to join the next Voidspire split, and it's just oh my god. Like, but I understand what Dorki is saying as well. I mean, I think it's cool to have these bosses, just like conceptually. It's more the loot system that creates a problem for it, or the mythic lockout system, whatever you want to call it, right? But having one-off bosses that you can just choose to go and do outside of the normal progression, I think it's nice, you know?
So I have a couple of solutions that I want to hear you guys' opinions on. One, so we need to address the elephant in the room. This one, I don't think we've ever talked about on the podcast, but you guys have probably heard 5,000 times. What about the idea of a tournament realm? Why is it good or bad?
I don't like it too much personally. I mean, would I be fully opposed to it? No, but the specifics do matter. I think one problem that comes out of it is I don't know how big this problem would be, but it would feel quite detached. Like as a viewer, you're seeing something and you're like, they're playing a different game. Whereas now you're like, okay, well, I know what they're doing, right? Like I know what's going on. So maybe there would be a bit of a big disconnect. But yeah, I mean, if that is the best solution to cut all of the extra work we have to go through and all of that, that's probably a price worth paying. But if you say, hey, we're going to do tournament realm, but then only half of your problems, let's say, will go away, you still have the other half to deal with, well, then I don't know if it's worth the detachment.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it
yeah.
solves global release. It solves and it solves splits, right? Because like the idea of the tournament realm, right, is you just if a Shine is playing a Shaman and it turns out we want him to play a Rogue, he can just spawn in a Rogue in 20 minutes with this gear, right? And the bosses are tuned for the exact gear that they're giving you. It does solve some problems. I think there's one major thing that is really unique about the race that it's really hard to put your finger on unless you're actually one of these people. But like, there's a lot of fandom around the world for like sports, right? Like people show up to games, they buy merchandise, they teach their kids to root for this team that they've rooted for their whole lives. In WoW, you have a unique opportunity to a lot of fans, to hundreds of thousands of people. This thing to them is the Super Bowl, right? This is the championship. This is everything, right? This is the thing that they follow. And they have the opportunity to actually help you succeed. Think about like a football team where their fans can go on and literally practice with the players, basically. People joining our splits and helping us get gear feel an immense amount of, they care so much more than you can imagine about us winning or losing or succeeding, because they actually and literally helped us get there. Like they joined those runs. They got paid some gold, but maybe this is true in EU because you have people vying. You guys are vying for the same helpers with Method, which by the way fucking blows, and I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore. But like these people would join for free. They're doing it because they want you to win, and they feel a level of attachment with that. And this is just something that, yeah, no, and this kind of goes along the same line with if it's on the tournament realm, it feels like you're not watching something else, or you're watching something else. If it's on live servers, people are watching the thing that is available for them to do right now. A lot of times watching someone do something insane, it's not because it's relatable, like, oh, I can see myself doing that. It's the opposite. It's holy, I cannot believe they're doing that. And that's available to me right now. And I don't know if I could do that. And I'm watching this team of people that I like do it. So to go along with the detachment thing, I think that is real. But I also think, as annoying as splits are, I think it creates a very unique level of attachment for the fan, the viewer, to the team that is really, that I don't think has ever really been accomplished, as far as I know, in like much other massively followed sporting events. And I think you'd lose that aspect of it as well.
I don't know. I feel like we have lost a lot of that, at least this tier, because it just feels like, I mean, we've seen the viewership spike when Mythic Raid began, and then it kind of like dropped right back when we were going back to splits, and people were just kind of like lost in the whole race. At least like I felt like I was really lost when I was watching the race. I couldn't ever really tell when you guys were actually entering the raid, and I felt like that was like a huge part of the viewer aspect of the race war first, and just having it more streamlined to where, okay, like this is when it starts and then this is when it ends.
Yeah,
it becomes a much more watchable experience, and
especially this tier. Like, this tier is an actual
it was all over the place. Like I just had no idea what the hell was going on. But I also feel like with tournament realm, maybe not necessarily tournament realm, but like the way Lost Ark does it, they have something called the First or something like that, where they have like bosses that are just like cranked up in difficulty, and it's not something that players normally go for, but you can if you want, where like it allows you to have a spectacle for every single boss. It kind of like an undermine situation where you had really hard third, fourth, and fifth bosses, but they're allowed to do this if it was in a separate entity, you know, like not necessarily.
Oh, so you're saying they could make a really fucking hard version of Erasius?
Yeah, like, you know, where like instead of just like the Az will maybe just melee you for like half your HP.
Yeah.
You actually have to like worry about CCing
Let's
and all
make
that.
that boss
and like
even worse.
But yeah,
Sorry,
and then
go
the thing
ahead.
is, like, it wouldn't be for the average players, right? Like if you're just like someone who's Mythic rating, like you don't have to deal with this at all, and it would just be like something that's like exciting to watch for the race, where they can just like crank up every single boss, and people are just like watching a Race of War first experience from the beginning to the end. Because like personally, I feel like the race only really begins when I'm watching the last boss. Every other boss is kind of just like, it's whatever.
Dude, this is not super related. I just want to jump in real quick. Roger and I were messaging each other on both Voracious's testings this tier, just being like, dude, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this boss? Like, how is this what they came up with? It just made me think of that.
I am sorry to whoever designed that boss, but it is going on my top 5 probably worst bosses. I don't know how the experience is for the people that, you know, have a few pulls on it. Maybe they don't like insta clear it. But I mean, even one-shotting it, or I don't know if I think we wiped once. But
Same.
Even then, you just see there's nothing to that boss, right? The only mechanic is, the only way I can describe it, annoying, is like just dealing with those ads. Like, is that fun for anyone? I don't think so. And that's it. That's the whole fight. Anyways, I do think though that what Dorki is saying, I do think would be a cool idea. I mean, you can't just do that and then, I don't know. It needs to be well thought out, but having actually a lot of bosses that are not insanely hard, but at least are a bit of a challenge would be very nice, in my opinion. Because, and that's the reason why I did ask on Twitter and messaging Blizzard, like, please make Belo'ran a bit harder, because you want some variety. You want to play a boss, progress it, it feels natural, and then when you kill it, it feels great. You don't want to just steamroll through all of the bosses and then you get to the one crazy hard boss. Like, sure, that Belo'ran was an amazing boss, but yeah, how much better would it be if you replace all the days of splits with actually, you know, 50 to 100 pull bosses, all of them, you know? Like, I think that would be a lot better. Like, especially, I did note some things. If you want to go maybe through some of the bosses, not super in depth, but like the dragons, for example, I thought really cool conceptually would be a boss where maybe there's going to be hard overlaps, a bit more like you take it step by step, kind of like Sprocketmonger a little bit progression was, where each step is a bit different and you just got to learn how to deal with every overlap. Super undertuned. Also, I think the mechanics come a bit too slow. Mm-hmm. So it was more like call what's coming next and just deal with it. That's it. So very disappointing that I was ready for that boss to be like 100 pulls.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And I thought actually the paladins, like I was sad because the paladins were after the dragons, because I thought the paladins was a bit of a boring fight, just a cycle repeating every 2.5 minutes. So I would have liked the paladins to be before the dragons and make the dragons harder and the paladins easier. And yeah, like that I guess you've noticed this as well, right? Like a lot of bosses, maybe it's because of the new bigwigs, like try to keep things simple from the Blizzard timeline.
Oh yeah.
A lot of bosses is just a cycle of abilities and it just keeps repeating. And it just, on some bosses in particular, I feel like it's like, oh my god!
Even
like,
Lura is just like P1 is just the same thing 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
P2 is the same thing 3 times. P3 is the same thing 3 times. P4 is the same. They're all just like the same repeat.
And yeah, I haven't thought about that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I don't even understand why. Because like the very common way that you make a boss harder, right, is that like you basically take the heroic timings, you speed up some things, you keep other things the same, and now the difficulty of the fight is learning lineups that you've never seen before. And I don't see why their new timers would make it to where you couldn't do that. You know, right?
No, but I'm just saying maybe it's just to code it easier, right? Like
maybe.
I don't know. That's a guess. I have no idea if that's for real, but I really felt it, especially talking about Lura, like phase 2, you could literally, I think, record your calls and just
play them on a loop.
Play them on a loop, and maybe the only thing you need to change is left of the marker, on the marker, right of the marker. Everything else is the same thing, the whole phase. So yeah, just hopefully they spice it up a little bit in the future.
Yeah, because there's ways to make bosses hard, and there's multiple ways to do that. Like an example, like why Voracious's felt bad is it's like, okay, so we see the heroic version of this boss. How are they going to make this harder? Oh, they chose the most annoying possible thing. It's like they drop pools that never go away, but also you have to go far out of the boss's even melee range to kill these. It's like there's nothing. There was no other idea. Sorry, the person who made Voracio's is listening to this. I'm so sorry, right? Like I'm sure you've made great bosses and maybe Voracio's is great and we're wrong. It's just
Like that's the thing that we're going with. Even honestly, I felt that way about Dragons. I wish Dragons was harder and there was harder lineups, but when I saw the change in Heroic to from what it was on testing, where the ads basically grip themselves, I was like, that's a very clever idea for like how you would deal with not having to run like a specific tank. Those ads would have still been hard. They actually jump to like the exact center point. I forget if we had tested it. I forget the result now. But if it's either the direct middle point of all the ads or the direct middle point of all players, so you can actually like split players in between the bosses, and they'll just jump basically under the boss's hitbox and stuff, which is really cool. And I'm like, dude, this is so awesome. And then you go on Mythic and they just don't move. And it's like, there are so many ways to make a boss hard. Making it more annoying is like the worst way to make a boss hard. And they did that on like a few bosses in there. I don't know. I just felt like just basically, I think the design on most non-Lura or Belo'ran things this tier, regardless of ease, just like they made mistakes that you normally don't expect of them. Like there's a level of quality, there's a standard of quality that you expect that I think a few of them just did not meet.
Yeah, and not to keep pampering on it, but I think probably the worst case of all of this was Alleria for me. You have a P1, which is honestly, if you're just watching a VOD, I think it's hard to distinguish between Heroic and Mythic. That's a bad sign. Also,
got one shot.
Yeah,
literally
like,
get there with everyone alive on one pull. How does that happen?
Yeah, and it's not particularly fun. So I don't know. I think for a boss where you keep everything secret after P1, I mean, might as well just remove P1 as well at this point. Anyways, and then I wonder actually, Max, if you had this feeling, because I really felt that P2 of Alleria felt very similar to Sarkareth P2, where you have the boss on the edge, you're dropping poop as you go along the edge in a counterclockwise. Even the direction was the thing the same, right? Yeah. Counterclockwise. And then there are some ads that you have to deal with. Okay, you had to kill them on Sarkareth. Now you have to shoot them. And like, I mean, you still kill them, let's say. And there's not too much going on. And that's it. That's the whole phase. You just repeat that a couple of times and then you're out of the phase. I don't know. It's like not horrible, but also nothing to get excited about, I think, in P2.
I was a fan of how like the things you shoot, the like slingshots or the lasers, like those just being a dodge mechanic for every difficulty, and then now it's like, oh, you now have to use them as like a thing to shoot an enemy you can otherwise not kill. I thought that was really clever.
That
but, like
was
obviously,
good
mechanic.
Yeah, it just wasn't hard enough to like really matter. But I thought that like if that boss was hard, I could see that mechanic actually have been like really nasty, because like if you would have ever missed one in that phase, the raid damage just would have been like too much and you just die.
I think if you compare Heroic P2 to Mythic P2, though, it's like in Heroic P2, you're tank swapping the Simulacrum and the boss, and like that's pretty hard. Both your tanks are always getting beat up, and you need to like aim these arrows properly, and you need the raid to like stand in it to clear their debuffs, and there's the null corona going on. And then Mythic just lost all those mechanics. And the mechanics it added were easier than the ones it took away from Heroic, in my opinion. It's like, I mean, the tuning obviously is important, but it just seems like they misunderstood. Like,
I was
what
so wrong.
Made that phase hard.
I was so wrong. I just saw Gallywix and I'm like, guys, this boss has like a whole week to be the last boss. You guys are saying it's going to be easy because it's like the Gallywix Dungeon Journal, but like Blizzard overreacts to everything. There's no way that's going to be the case again. And boy, was I fucking wrong. They did the exact same thing.
And I actually, yeah, in P2, can someone please explain to me, at the start of the phase, there is a simulacrum that actually spawns, and you just kill it in 20 seconds, and you never see that again.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that? Like, I don't get it. You had the simulacrum in Heroic, and it was actually cool to interact with it and break the shield, and like when you tank swap so that you can focus the shield. Like actually, Heroic, I thought I had to do more strategizing for Heroic than for Mythic. It felt like. So yeah, I don't know. And then in P3, I think the intermission to P3 was very lackluster. Like you were saying, Gallywix. You remember the Gallywix intermission to the secret phase or whatever you want to call it? That was cool, at least, you know? A lot of stuff is happening. Lasers are coming through. You got to dodge in and out. And then here it was just like a half-baked visual donut You go in and out, and that's it.
You go in and out one time, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not random. You don't have to be ready for both.
Yeah.
It's just the same every time. Yeah.
And then P3, I think actually P3 was not too bad. It's just like the HP was a little bit undertuned, so you never had to really squeeze the damage, because that's typically, it felt a little bit like Sylvanas, where you have to jump platforms and stuff. But on Sylvanas, you had to squeeze real damage, like everything you could. And here it's just like, well, if you survive, you kind of win. So yeah, very disappointed with Alleria personally. But yeah, I don't know why make a boss so secretive, but then not make it a banger, because yeah, it had all the elements that they could have made it, I think, a lot cooler. Maybe they ran out of time. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, so my guild struggled with that fight. We just struggled with P1 that same week that you guys killed it. And I'm still not 1,000,000% sure exactly what all the problems were, but like maybe Blizzard, like internal testing team, was also struggling with it, and they just kind of underestimated how easy you guys would be
P1
able
of
to make
Alleria?
that phase look. Yeah, P1 Alleria. We just kept wiping at like 10% on the last guy.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we started recording the
Yeah.
podcast. Max is like all confused, but like,
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
We literally never wiped in that phase once or talked about it.
Yeah.
We were just like, Mythic's going to be a little different. We'll talk about it when we get
dude, you
there.
guys
All
are
we can
just
do,
built diff. You guys don't get
all
it,
we
man.
can do in heroic is just make sure that the ads are gripped on top of the first guy, and then you don't have to think about the rest of the ads, because the tank that does the tank swap just brings 1,000,000 guys onto the second one you kill, and then it's just over. That's actually, I don't think it was a damage, because we were playing Arcane. Because
Right.
Arcane Touch the Magi is bugged with that damage amp, and it just like solos the last ad. And then we were like, hopefuls like, guys, Arcane is too good. We're like, yeah, just like try Frost for a pull and see what happens. And it turns out you didn't need Arcane to do that at all. He was just stealing all the pie from everyone, because that boss just has like 15 or 20 stacks or something. And yes, he was doing the most damage to
That's
it.
a
But
very
like,
hopeful thing.
yeah, but like literally anyone could do it. It's just he just happened to like have burst at that exact moment. That's so fascinating. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there
was
was only
actually one of the
problem for us
bosses
that
where
week. Yeah.
yeah, we actually smoked Dratnos' guild, which is like, rare, but like it happened. Like in another man, it was one-armed bandit too. But
He doesn't forget,
yeah,
by the way.
I never
He's
forget.
remembering
Yeah.
that forever.
I mean, this is about the PoddyC race the world first. That's the
That's
important
right.
part.
Yeah, we keep losing to Liquid,
Real
but one
World
of these
Race-
days, one
Yeah.
of us is going to beat you guys.
No, but my guild actually really enjoyed Alleria too. Like I don't know, it felt like the mechanics were well paced, and it felt like it was a different fight the entire time. So it was quite
We just
enjoyable.
thought-
But I also can see why it was disappointing.
We thought P1 was annoying, but that maybe was because we sucked at it for like 40 pulls. And then we thought P2 was just nothing. Like the entire difficulty of P2 is just understanding the dance that the ranged have to do. And if they do that, it's a trivial phase, right? And then P3
Well, I don't know.
had some weird
actually,
stuff with it.
I still don't know, like the obelisks, as we call them, like the shooting thing.
Yeah.
What are Mistweaver monks? What are they? Are they ranged or melee? To this day, I
Dude.
think I've seen both, and I have no idea what's the reality.
They're ranged. They're the only spec in the. Okay, maybe Holy Paladin as well. I'm not sure, because we just would never play that thing.
Yeah,
but,
Holy Paladin.
yeah, like Mistweaver was just able to get all of the melee and range things, and we asked them multiple times. We're like, hey, don't know if it's a bug, but like, can you at least clarify that they are melee or range, because they're some for some mechanics and none for others, and this is the only spec where this is true, and just never got a response on it. And it's just
Oh, but they
like,
fixed it right recently.
Oh, did they?
I don't
I
know.
believe so. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Have not been back there, honestly.
Don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We weren't back there. That made me think about that. In every tier, when you've wanted to get back to Denathrius, you had to re-kill Stonely Generals and Sludgefist. When you wanted to get back to Ansurek, you had to re-kill Silken Court and Nexus Princess, right? Like, what? This tier made me rethink that, because both you and I, our guilds, we never went back to do Vanguards in Alleria. I think Method did. And then watching them do it definitely reaffirmed my belief that we are definitely not supposed to have done that, because they spent like a lot of time on it. But
Yeah.
I just think that's so interesting that this tier allowed you to like not re-kill a boss if you didn't want to, basically, because that gear was not bad, right? It's just like not
Yep.
worth the time to ever wipe to it, basically, and it's very likely that you would have.
Yeah, it was a mixture as well with the crest, right? Because if you don't have enough mythic crests to upgrade a mythic piece, like if you've spent them all, basically you have enough mythic items to spend all your mythic crests. Well, getting a mythic piece compared to a 276 heroic is like a small upgrade. Yes, those last bosses drop like 3 eye levels higher, but like, is it worth the time? I mean, speaking of that, by the way, this was the first time we just went nutty straight to mythic, and we did not do normal or heroic Belo'ran or Lura. You guys did that, but we're just like, we don't even know how this boss works in heroic at this point. So yeah, we had some people from the outside go and test some stuff on the side, but that was an interesting case where the raiders, the first time they see the boss is mythic. Like that's what you get. Yeah.
Yeah,
that is
cool
very
feeling.
cool. Yeah.
It's
also the first time you guys, I think, on a fresh Mythic week have gone into Mythic before us. Ever.
Yeah.
And that was due to a variety of reasons. Basically, you also mentioned this earlier. You were like, well, you guys didn't do as much of the crest thing. We did, but we did that through more Mythic splits rather than Mythic plussing on the guy, if that makes sense. But yeah, we did. I think we got the crest achievement on everybody, but it just required more time doing splits. So your all's plan was overall definitely faster. But also we also did get more. So like basically what the eye level ended up being at the end of the week was everyone was heroic crest achievement. So you had at least heroic crest, and then you had basically your eye level was just however many mythic crests you had above that, plus the amount of like above 1 out of 6 mythic loot that you got.
That's why you have 2 out of 6 even, right? It's like it's only the 3 out of 6 that's better.
Yeah, exactly. Only the 3 out of 6 is better. So because of that, everyone's eye level is going to be roughly the same. I think because we were like, dude, did we like totally fucking grief our splits? Like, what the fuck did we do to like spend that much more time doing this? And we did sim both of our rosters because we're like, okay, like maybe we're just fucking crazy. I think what happened was we ended up getting a few more ideal spots to spend your mythic crests on. Like there was more like helms, chests, shoulders, and stuff like that because our roster, even though it was like 0.3 lower eye level or something, which is like very little, it simmed higher. Almost on a per character basis. However, was that worth the amount of time we spent to do that? Absolutely not. Right. So like I think you guys definitely outplayed us with that. But it was weird. We woke up on the second day of Mythic being like, all right, well, I bet they're doing splits and time to start on Belo'ran. And we're like, they have progressed like all of Belo'ran. And then honestly, it was kind of insane, like, because that fight is obviously a lot harder and it required a decent amount of problem solving. And we're like, bro, this is fucking amazing. Like, we just wake up and we just have everything, which is.
I must say, speaking of that, right? Like, the week starts, and then because you could just instantly pull Mythic Belo'ran, right? Like, we had some people in NA to pull the boss just to see what does it do, right? Like the first few seconds. And then you pull the boss, and it's very different to the PTR. And I'm just like, oh my God, all the time I spent thinking about this boss and like how we're going to play it. Because I don't know how much time you guys spent. I think, based on the conversations and other people I've talked to, I think most people expect that boss to be like a joke, like it would just blow through it. I spent a lot of time on that boss because I was thinking, hey, no matter what happens in week 1, I mean, what are the odds that you guys, let's say, are you going to outplay us that hard that you're going to kill Alleria and we will not have killed Alleria by the end of our week? I don't think so. So my thought was we will have probably either to both kill Alleria after the reset, which should be easy probably with a lot of gear.
Extra gear, yeah.
Or it will already be over, and then all that matters is to try to catch up quickly after the reset. And hopefully Belo'ran is hard enough. So I put because Lura you couldn't even really see. We didn't know much about, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's put a lot of effort on Belo'ran. And we had a great plan based on the PTR. It was going to be great. And then you pull the boss, and it's very different. And I was a little bit sad of the time I spent there.
I think you guys still ended up coming up with something really good. Like when we had what we thought about, we woke up and saw what you guys were doing. We're like, first of all, yes, the boss is different, but we were like, this is really good. Like we have some other ideas, but like they've obviously spent some time on this and made changes. Like we could just fully take what they're doing.
Yeah, I was a bit sad actually. Like we told them, Even like, because like I said, we instantly had some people pull on an A to see what works. And the first thing I asked was, okay, have the hunter turtle and soak the dive and soak the wrong colored balls, right? Because there is a dot that you were supposed to get, I think, if you touch the wrong ball. And I want to see, does that penetrate immunity? And then when the turtle worked on absolutely everything, I literally told Tribe, yeah, hunters are going to be really good. I think we need some hunters here because you literally immune every ability there. I don't know if you can watch. I think we were doing a certain strat, and then you guys killed it. So I don't know if you watched, like, because it was like a last few pulls change that I made, where if you check our kill on YouTube, you can see Saul at the start of P2, like he turtles, soaks like 5 balls, then soaks the dive for both people. I think actually on the kill he gets it himself, then gets gripped onto a gateway, and then gateways and soaks another 20 balls. And like that one turtle, I think soaks, like 20 balls or something, and also soaks both dives. It's an insane amount of damage basically that you immune with one ability. So it looks cool, but I think it's way too good. I would kind of have wished that there was more difficulty elsewhere. Like maybe you have to soak the dives with at least 5 people, otherwise bad things happen.
They do that a lot. Like on Mythic, they put these things where it's like you need this many people, and they just didn't do that with that mechanic. It's weird. Yeah,
I think they should have made immunities less good and put more difficulty somewhere else instead, right? You know, but also those bouncing balls, man. I mean, yeah, it's a mechanic. Not the most fun, I will say. Sometimes those balls. Also, fun thing, there are hidden balls behind the wall that you can't even soak.
Yep.
And then they bounce through the wall, and then they multiply as well, or whatever is happening. And then you think you have it safe. Suddenly 3 balls are attacking your tanks from the wall. Yep. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, we had a hilarious death log to that, or clip.
I think that Belo'ran, like, the difficulty landing on the immunities was kind of unavoidable, given that it was a last-minute buff, right? It's like they had the spells and the sequence of abilities already, and they had to make a way of making that fight way harder, as they just buffed up all the numbers, and like that, of course, makes immunities scale really well into that. I don't know. I mean, they had 4 days to like cook up that buff, but I don't think that's enough time to make it any other.
No, that encounter designer was definitely put in a tough spot.
Yeah,
like it's like, hey, your boss is supposed to be this. You know, second to last bosses look a certain way in the dungeon journal. They have a mechanic set to support that difficulty. Belo'ran did not have that, so the only way they could do that is just by making everything's turbo one shot you. You get, you know, the damage check was the same. Which, by the way, we made the decision to go for the 2-phase, and like drop a healer, and like we have to 2-phase this boss. We did that before we even did math that was possible, because we were like, that 3rd phase is not a thing. There's no fucking way. Like that has to be that 3rd phase would have been harder than Laura, by the way. Like I don't know if that was ever possible. So we basically swapped to it. We're like, we could maybe find a way to optimize this last % faster than we would ever find a way to do this 3rd phase consistently.
Yeah, we actually, so before going to bed, like a couple hours before, we were saying as well, like, okay, we should 3 heal this and go for the 2 egg phase. But we were like, okay, let's not, maybe because we're about to go to bed, maybe let's not show that yet, because maybe they haven't thought about it. So we didn't actually do it before going to bed. Then we wake up and we're like, okay, they're doing it. This clearly works as well. Very nice. But I don't even, like, we actually tried to get to the 3rd phase, and we saw that, it is not good. We did it like we did it like once, I think, and we're like, yeah, okay, because we just wanted to see what happens, you know, like who knows, maybe there are no dives. Clearly there were, but I don't know, because if you guys also found that, so this fight used to be 6 minutes end rates on PTR, but in on live it was actually 8 minutes. Now, no one has seen that end rates probably at all, ever, and will never see it. But it is 8 minutes, as far as I know. So clearly they were intending that you do 3 phases. But yeah,
I mean,
alas.
dude, I think people, so now after they've nerfed the boss, some people have missed the second egg and have like limped into P3 and saw it. And it doesn't look that much different than P2. But I would bet everything that I own that was not the case before the reset. Because most of the ball stuff is like server side shit. So you wouldn't even be able to see them buffing or nerfing the balls in that phase anyway. But when P2 happens, right, you get like the circle of balls to come in, the second P1. And then when you end the second egg phase, a circle is coming in at the end. By the way, at the same time as the wall bounces are coming towards the middle. So that would have been fucking nuts. Yep. I think there was more than 2 walls in the last phase. Like I think instead of it spawning like 2 walls, I think there's 3 or 4. And then also the circle mechanic would have also been improved in some way. And I don't know. I don't ever want to know what that fucking looked like.
Plus 4
But it would have been insane.
4 quills, 20% healing received reduced, taking damage.
More healing
more.
absorbs.
It's like, yeah, that's
literally no shot, man.
We were so my guild we were like they did the Og nerf, right? And it's like we thought we couldn't 2-egg it, right? So we were looking at how do we try and design a plan that will work in this P3. Then luckily they nerfed it again. They nerfed the egg before we pulled under that paradigm. But yeah, I was thinking there was a good chance we weren't going to kill that boss this week as a result of that.
I was in a raid leading Discord, and these people are all talking like, "What do we do?" They've nerfed Og. Relo's guild, really good guild, top 20 world guild, was pulling the boss, and they were wiping at like 5% basically after the Og change. So it's like cooked. And then they were like, well, maybe someone in there was like, yeah, like maybe we try P3, and I don't usually type in there, and I was just like, just gonna come in real quick. Do not do that.
There's no way. I mean,
so they're saying,
you guys weren't doing it. There's no way they're doing it.
I'm like, hold on, do not do that. Like, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like you can't do it the Og thing anymore. So you're telling us to not do the 3rd phase, and also don't try to 2 phase because the Og thing. I'm like, all I'm telling you is to not waste your time. Because,
just don't pull the boss.
There's literally, you're completely wasting your time. There's no way. But apparently it doesn't look that bad. Dude, also, Roger, you said that like maybe it doesn't do dives or anything. Hopeful in our guild, the night we went to sleep before we killed Belo'ran that next day, we hopeful types in the Belo'ran channel, guys, maybe in P3 it doesn't really do anything. And we all flamed like, what do you fucking mean it doesn't do anything? It's going to be like the hardest shit of all time. It's like, what do you mean? You guys are saying we have to 2-phase it, but like, what if we get there and the boss doesn't, it just melees you? Like, we all thought he was like, are you trolling? Like, are you fucking kidding? But then you said the same thing. Like, oh, maybe he doesn't do dives. So he'll take that as a win, I think.
Yeah, my man. Maybe I've infected him from the times he was here.
Yeah, he gets owned a lot.
Did you? Because I don't know how much more time we have. I do think we should probably though talk a little bit about the add-ons as well, or like
yeah.
I think that's unavoidable. I feel like the reason it hasn't gotten brought up so far in this is just because it's just been a talking point of everyone that plays World of Warcraft since the beginning of this season. But
yeah, it's been a talking point every week for months now.
And this is the most it's been. I mean, because I want to say I'm wrong about some things. I'm right about some things. I called this fucking add-on shit months ago, like on this podcast, was like, there's going to be shit in the race that you did not think was possible that is going to blow your mind, and it's gonna like, people are going to accuse guilds of cheating. Like, bro, when we first showed that Laura add-on, that was crazy. Everyone thought it was automated because it looks like the fucking jailer bomb thing. Like, it looks as bad as a weak aura could ever. It looks like the Archimon mechanic. Like, and then it turns out it's the most basic like binary of inputting of information and showing it. It's basically raid chat on your screen in a way. But like, that was huge. We had like some unique identifiers. You guys rebuilt weak auras. And just one thing I'll say, because I'm sure you guys have a lot to say about it. Their theory going into this is like, we can make bosses without weak auras. Dude, I do not know if we did not have these tools on Lura. No fucking way, man. Like, no way.
Well,
I don't know.
I will say, okay, my conspiracy theory brain is thinking maybe they thought, hey, they're not going to have weak auras, and they made Lura the runes mechanic, but then they realized, wait a second, because I don't know. I mean, we were reporting that we will have this, right? Like we literally told, I told them specifically, we are going to have a way to show the runes by inputting it via raid chat and whatnot, right? Like so they knew, and maybe that's why they made the change, and you could have two of the same color or the same rune. Because if you don't have weak auras, one way to do it is you just place the world markers, right? But when you have two of the same, you cannot put two of the same world marker on the ground. So that then you need the weak aura then, you know? But if it was always one of each symbol, I think you could play it without, actually. I think it's doable, not great, but doable at least.
You're basically saying they cranked it up because they realized that you guys had weak auras.
I'm just guessing here. I'm just saying there is a world where without, like, if add-ons were purged from the raid, how would you play this mechanic? Well, I think they would have to make it that you cannot get the same symbol twice in P1. I think that alone just destroys any sort of non-weak aura solution to the mechanic.
I actually completely agree with you. I had the same read on this situation. To me, it felt like they actually cooked and they were able to come up with new and interesting fights because of the removal of the quote unquote removal of add-ons. But obviously, like, they failed on that department, and so they had to overcompensate and just create whatever the hell Alleria is now because of the whole, like, oh, you guys actually had your weapons all along.
Yep. I mean, there's little that we didn't have anymore, honestly. Like, at the end, I was hoping I wouldn't have to spend a lot of time, with these things. It was the same, maybe even more, because now it's everything is more scuffed, basically. So you have to make a little bit worse things, but they take more time. Especially, I don't know, actually, Max, because, if you had the similar feeling, like, okay, when you progress a boss, it's always like you need the big wigs, whoever is doing big wigs for you guys to, like, make the timers as you prog. But maybe it's because the old system, it was there for so long that you got really good at it. But man, like, this time around, because of the Blizzard timers or whatever, we had, it took a bit longer, let's say, to fix the big wigs.
Yeah,
if you had the same, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the tech you could get to work would work off of your bigwigs timers that you would do custom. So, like, it was really noticeable when it took a while for timers to work. And yeah, I'm glad to hear it was the same with you guys, honestly, because, like, I mean, part of it is you never know, right? Like we had our like main add-on guy this tier was the first. We had a new guy for the first time in a long time, and he was like a fucking monster. Everything was like so fast. It was never broken. Like, you never had to go in and fix it. It worked every single time, and it was super fast. And that was so amazing that, like, you never know if, like, what you have is slow compared to your competition, So, like, when we were having timers be slow, it was the guy who does it is really smart in our guild, and I'm sure that, like, it was just hard, right? I wasn't thinking he was bad at it or something, but yeah, I just kind of assumed that it was just a completely different rule set they had to make them under than what they used to, and that must just be much more time consuming because it did take longer, and the Blizzard timers unfortunately just don't have enough functionality to, like, customize them in ways you need them to be.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Had they gone harder on the add-on removal, would you guys have resorted to different solutions, whether it be like overlays or, I don't know, having, like, more people in charge of calling stuff out, or, like, maybe someone, like, working from behind? I don't know what else solutions you guys would have, but would you guys have gone harder in that direction?
Well, I mean, they did specifically tell us that overlays are not allowed. Yeah. So no, we would not have done that because, I mean, okay, is there a way for them to know? I guess not, but why would you bother, right? Like,
someone would leak it, you get banned.
Yeah,
GG.
Like, there's no reason. So I fully expect. I even wrote that. I mean, I predict things, like Belo'ran getting buffed. So I predict that this half that they tried to do is going to be probably hated by everyone, because there's people that are like, bring me back my add-ons. Why did you destroy my UI? and now everything is still there anyways. It's just worse. And then there are other people who are like, I thought I have to not play with add-ons anymore. Now I still have to play with add-ons. So no one is happy. So I don't think they're going to go back to just unleashing it all. I think that would look really bad. Some people hope for it. What I expect to happen is they will just destroy a lot more things in the future. Now that they've seen also what's possible and whatnot. And I'm secretly hoping for it, as long as it also comes with improvements to the base UI, right? Like now they have a long time until the next patch. They also have a lot of data. So if the Rust job they did the last couple of months before release of the expansion, if they can keep putting this effort until the next season, I think they can butcher a lot more the add-ons, but also make the base UI a lot better, right? Like, for example, excuse me, okay, I played in a split, and I did not know if I have PI. Like, how do you know if you have PI in this game anymore? People were saying, you have glowing hands or something. Like, I don't know, like, that should be a thing from the game, that you can see your PI buff. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, maybe there is an add-on out there, but it should be on the base UI. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I expect at least to happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a bit of a tangent from me, but that's kind of been my problem with Blizzard in general recently. It feels like they don't have a vision, because like they say all these things, but they don't commit to doing it. Because I mean, like the whole Addons situation, for example, they could have just gone with whatever they said they were going to do, but they ended up capitulating to all the JBs. And, you know, like you had like JB complaining on Twitter literally every fucking day about like, oh, my green square on that one part of my raid frame and like yada yada.
I mean,
like,
I think healers were valid. Like,
yeah, no,
shit was
I mean, I'm not
terrible.
just like to shit on healers per se, but like it was just like a very specific thing, right? Like JB for example, has just been like super gung ho about the entire situation. Like not even one tiny bit of it is like okay to him. And obviously, like the healer situation should have been addressed earlier, and Blizzard should have like obviously done something about it base UI wise. But them doing this like half and half in between just made the situation so much worse, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think everybody agrees on that, right? It's just a question of like, do you think they will get it right, you know, next patch or next expansion? Or do you think it's going to continue to be like Liquid and Echo have weak auras, but everybody else doesn't anymore?
That's the worst look at by
that
far.
One is so tough, yeah.
I think that's the thing that, like, if you were to roll all the possible outcomes, Blizzard hates the one the most that, oh, actually you can make all these add-ons if you have private add-on developers in-house and they're not available to the public. That is so bad of a look, I think. And yeah, okay, so let's talk about what you can't do that you used to. Because I think it's, if you're asking the question of like they're going to remove more things, let's talk about what they could remove and what they should remove. It's like what you can't do right now is if you had like a brood twister situation where you have to go to a specific mark and it dynamically assigns it based on preference. Like if you get picked, I want you to go to orange because you're arranged and you have a knockback, and like it dynamically moves people around, not static. I think it's like basically impossible to do that. Or if
I
like,
think so, sir.
Yeah. And if there's 4 soaks that need to happen, think Light Blinded Vanguard, but it can pick anyone but just healers. Then it's something where like, okay, well, maybe 4 people in group 4 got picked and that one guy's going to get one shot. So you need some kind of smart system to move people around in the soaks and tell them to go soak diamond or whatever, or else that guy's going to get one shot now. You can't do that, but Blizzard is smart now, and the way that they do those mechanics is they put them on the 4 healers. In P2 of Lura, they put one on a tank, one on a melee, one on a range, and one on a healer. So you can actually have those groups kind of pre-assigned instead of having to need some dynamic assignment. So as far as I know, dynamic assignments cannot be done, but also Blizzard, I think, has, and maybe they'll get this wrong at some point, but like they have kind of figured out how to have that not be a thing.
Alleria
What else?
too, with the aspect of the end, where it's like it's
where it goes on
the
the 3 people. Yeah, I'm also very sad that we did not figure out you could immune one of those. But then so what is the that was you? Did you figure that out?
No, it wasn't not me, but we did figure it out as well.
Yeah, and I know you guys used it, but okay. Yeah. So what is there, Roger, to your mind right now that that you also used to do that was common that you cannot do at all anymore?
Well, I'll tell you one that is a bit painful, I guess. On the P4, for example, you used to, for sure, be able to play a sound on a player. The first one who gets the blaze or whatever it's called, in the secret phase, right? Like where you have to go left, the Star Splinter, yeah. Well, with the old system, you could just have the first guy have a text or TTS and he's saying left, or well, we did the back, front, back,
top, bottom, yeah.
And then the second guy here would hear right, and the third guy left again, right? Like you cannot do this anymore. Like actually, you used to be able to do this. It's funny, like even with the new system, but then they killed that functionality, so it's good because now you have
kicks at the beginning of this fight too. Like, were you able to play a sound when people needed to do their specific kick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That actually, I am a bit curious, and also let's try to do what we said at the start. You know, like create a little bit of spice in here. I'm actually curious for the kick recorder that you guys use, right?
Yeah.
So we were told that, I mean, getting a little bit nerdy here, that we cannot use unit is unit to do that part, basically, like the interrupt recorder. We got specifically told, like, yes, this is something we're planning to break in the next patch, but do not use it. It's an exploit. Okay, we consider it bad.
Yeah, we got told to do that for some other things as well. Okay, but I don't. To answer your question, we did not anything that we were using. We did not like use it against their will. Every time they were like, "Okay, we noticed you're not using this thing anymore. What else are you using now?" And then we tell them how the new thing works, and they're either like, "Stop using that," and we went to our third option. This is all not made up, by the way. We were literally going down our list of things that were like, okay, and then they did it. Oh wait, are you referring to the like unit identifiers over their heads, or are you talking about the?
Yeah, basically. Okay, I'm not a coder, but you used something which sounds dumb, right? Unit is unit. Apparently, is the function to use, and you match that with the nameplate. So then, I'm guessing you guys did not have to focus the target at the start of Lura to do the kicks, right? And then you could use some macro to kick.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's what I'm saying, right? Like we told them that this is what we're gonna do as well before the tier. They said, no, that's bad. Don't use that. Okay, it will work, but we don't want you to use it because we're planning on breaking it in the 0.5 patch. And then this is where I don't know if you read when we were talking with about this whole thing in the general chat with all the guilds. I predicted this will happen is when you tell some guild like do not use this should be public to all the guilds, because I'm guessing Definitely. I don't know, maybe you guys thought like, hey, because this is something you could have done for many years, right? Like maybe you guys thought, hey, this thing is a function we've always used, so no need to report it. Or maybe you reported it and it was a different guy who said, oh, that's allowed actually, or whatever it is. So I think, okay, hopefully we move to an era where add-ons are even less of a thing, in my opinion. But this was an extra, let's say,
yeah, it sucks. It's like on Maiden of Vigilance when you guys got told to not do the tank soaks on the thing, so you ran around in a circle only for them to just let every other guild do the tank soaks, and then you looked stupid, right? Like it's basically that. But wait, I mean, yeah, we reported like a staggeringly amount of things. Like we reported everything we did. They fixed them, and like I don't know specifically because like this is Dorvan. It's usually Dorvan that does that. I can actually find the thing for you after the podcast about like where we did it. But yeah, like I'm sure we did it. But also there was definitely some communication lapse with Blizzard because like, do you remember when they invited the guy that was like the head of add-on disarmament or whatever, like kind of late into all this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's not say any names. Okay.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Not the name, but like they added the guy later, and that was because we had like posted something in the past that I guess they missed that specific post, and then they didn't say anything about it, so we used it, and then they were like, I think it was actually day 1 of Heroic Week when. Oh,
you mean with the tracking the cooldowns?
Tracking raid cooldowns, exactly. Yeah, because we literally posted about this. They didn't give any kind of like negative thing, and then they basically said it was a lapse in communication, and this guy didn't see it. So maybe there were other posts that were like not saw by some person, and they said, but yeah, basically we didn't use anything that they did not explicitly be like, don't use that. But it is funny if they told you guys to not use something and they did not tell us that. That is definitely bad.
Yeah, I remember before the tier started, we were we were on a TeamSpeak, and I was talking with like our coders, the big wigs, like, anyways, a bunch of people, like 5 people, and we're just thinking, okay, how can we do the things we're not supposed to do? Okay, let's say according to the philosophy of Blizzard, and we literally made a spreadsheet of like a million ways of like, because we were also live testing to see if does this even work, and we made like a huge list with even examples of how we could use this to gain an advantage, and then we sent that whole spreadsheet basically to them, and they fixed like almost all of it in the end, but it was there was a lot of stuff that you could do, and it's funny because you see, I don't know if you saw like if you put too many world markers on the ground, you get throttled at some point. Sorry about that one. That is one of them. There's also like pinging people and stuff. Like there's like a million ways that we went through. It was almost fun.
They solved a ton of them. Like bro. If we're not giving them this feedback, I guess I'm kind of patting ourselves on the back here, but like, it would have been wild, bro. Like we probably fixed hundreds and hundreds of ways to do crazy shit.
Yeah, but yeah, on that one with Interrupt, it was, I don't know if you're involved with this discussion, but it was funny. I see that because we had also kind of a weak order, right? But it was just, we called it scuffed unit is unit, basically, right? Because it was like not as good and it didn't work like great. So we kind of said, okay, just focus the target anyways, right? Like it's just everyone focus the target. And then I was talking with our coder and I'm like, man, how is their weak aura working so good? Yeah. And like, did we just do a bad job, I guess? Yeah. And then she was like, oh, I think they might be using unit is unit. I'm like, hold on. We were told you can't use that. Then I go and I guess you could say snitch a little bit. And then get told, hey, yeah, they are using it. They're going to stop using it. But we're not using that, so it should be fine. And then a little bit later, they come back to us. Actually, can you guys also not use it for the sake of fairness? So no one's using any of that. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, like this, I think could all be avoided if it's a bit more, at least communication, because I'm sure there might be more examples of that in future. Of at least what's not allowed should be more across all the guilds. I don't know. Hopefully a big lesson for everyone. But yeah,
okay.
As predicted, a shit show.
I did find a message. So it was like on the first day we were there, okay, we're going to be hotfixing a change to break this usage of unit and unit to compare nameplates to boss units. Please stop using this. That would be appreciated. We're letting the other guilds know as well. Okay. And then there's one later. So that was on the first day. Whatever we're using now is not that. But then I think like there was some other, like all I know is that we posted to our tech people like what they're breaking and why. And they're like, oh, that's fine. Just do a reload in like 10 seconds. And just immediately you're having the same functionality by doing something else that is fine that we clarified with them. And it's like, it's just like for people who are non-race world first guilds, this tier was just a fucking circus, man. Like it was just wild amounts of shit. Also, we were like using unit IDs to auto mark things by having like it'll be like 0A, 0B, 1B. It was just using the last 2 letters of each mob's individual unique identifier. So you wouldn't have to like for kicks initially, we didn't do the unit on unit thing. We did like, everyone's going to focus your target. Well, how do you know which target is what? Bigwigs used to just like auto mark things. You can't really auto mark anything anymore. So we used that. And that was, I think, the funniest thing for me because we sent them a literal picture of what this looked like before the tier. Like, this is what this is going to look like above nameplates. Looks kind of sketchy. If you don't want this, let us know. 0 response. And then when we pull the boss, they quote
they reply to that message from before, and they say, upon seeing this in action, it turns out we don't like this at all. Please stop doing it. And I just was like, man, this is so brutal.
Yeah,
That's a bad one for sure.
So for anyone who's complaining of like, oh, we have all the requires, I mean, trust me, it's not easy, okay? This is not like, oh, we just code a little bit and everything is magical.
There's a reason the guilds have it and it's not public. It's an insane amount of work that you would only be incentivized to do if you were trying to win the race world first, right? That's why it's not available publicly. It's not that it's impossible. It's just, why would anyone put in the time to do all this shit if you weren't trying to do this?
God bless Northern Sky raid tools.
Relo's doing work for the community.
If Relo didn't exist, there would not be a public version of these, I think, largely.
I think if that wasn't the case, I feel like one of our guilds would probably post something for even just PR reasons of like not wanting the entire community to turn against the race world first or something. But the fact that it is out there anyway, I feel like that probably won't happen.
But then maybe you put it behind the subscription wall. Easy money.
Oh, Patreon.
There you go. Yep. Patreon that. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, how many people?
Yeah, you release the add-on and then just the configuration pack is available to subscribers.
Yeah, the add-on by itself is just an empty blank canvas.
Yeah.
If you want actual runes to appear,
that costs money. I can't believe that that's a gray area, and I would bet that it probably isn't, but like, who knows? Okay, what else is there? Is there anything else like race specific you guys want to get into?
Man, I will say I do like the direction they've been going with the raid when it comes to the whole mechanics, like you were saying, Max, with the whole they assign the healers on vanguards and they assign like specific roles. Like they could have done this in previous raids too. Like they could have done this for whatever Overnac, but they just decided to continue with whatever the hell they were doing before.
Oh, I have something on that area. And this is going to be kind of out of left field, but it's going to be involving the DK raid buff. And this isn't like a big like raid buff rant. It's actually more of a boss design rant. By dying on the hill that DK's raid buff will be that the end boss, and by the way, only one boss will have grippable mobs, by the way, which can only be designed a certain way. Mobs spawn away from the boss, and every other mechanic in the game to deal with that sucks compared to Death Grip, because if it was too close to the boss or if they spawned in a pack, there's a million ways to deal with that. But no, it has to be a DK raid buff. I just think it's so one-dimensional that every end boss now is just going to have like 4 or 5 ads that need to be gripped under the boss and AoE down. I just feel like you're pigeonholing yourself into this one mechanic always being the case on an end boss, which has to like limit your creativity. And I just don't understand how that's the hill we're dying on. That's it. That's all I have.
Dude, it sucks so bad. I have a lot to say about that. For one, it's because I play both Boomkin and DK a lot in Raid, right? So Boomkin gets fucked by this because it just means that spread cleave is not as important. Like
exactly, very good.
Had they not been grippable, that would have made Boomkin a lot more valuable in a lot of these fights. Except, like now you just grip them all in. Like fuck it, who cares? And the second thing is, it's so annoying if I'm just trying to do friend raids or if I'm trying to do like heroic raid. Like the need to have a DK is so much worse than the need to have like say a chaos brand in your raid. If you're just like
a rogue, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's another topic.
Yeah.
Too,
I wonder if rogues are going to get the Hunter's Mark treatment.
But it's so bad, this whole design of like we need grips for fights. I mean, like I'm just like on the first 2 weeks, I was just trying to pug with my friends that I've been playing with, a bunch of tourists, and we don't have a DK in our group, right? So we're just like 15 manning Alleria, and it's the worst shit ever. Like not having grips for the ads makes the fight unplayable. Like obviously, if you were really geared or like if your group was insanely good,
you got like 4 people targeted by the arrow, so one person just goes to each ad.
No, yeah, like obviously you could do it, but it's just not feasible, right? Like it's not realistic for a non-high level group. And same with a bunch of other fights, right? Like if we don't have it on Chimeras, like obviously you could still do it if your group is a bunch of gamers and they're able to kick in time. But for us, it was just like such a struggle without having DKs just gripping the ads that just instantly cast fear.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, it's not too late. It's not too late to just give them 3% haste buff or whatever. That's all they need.
It's crazy that that's where we are.
I also, I said it jokingly. I think Rogue, like, the fact that damage is so much better than damage reduction is a bit of a problem for Rogues, because a lot of fights become easier if you just kill the boss faster. So maybe think on that a bit. Also, apparently, okay, maybe I'm opening a huge other topic here. A lot of people before the tier said, my God, my spec is so boring. Okay. I don't know what people feel after the tier is over. Haven't talked to many people, but I know my boy Perfecto, he told me, bro, rogues have no niche anymore, really. And you see at the egg of Belo'ran, old rogue would have been topping that egg.
Insane, yeah.
Yeah. And now they're just at the bottom. Like, Guardian Druid apparently is better than them. Like, what happened to that class? I don't know. But in terms of just fun, I don't know if you guys got already a vibe check of, like, does it feel like the whole pruning and making the rotation a bit easier, has that really affected people? Or is it a little bit like we've moved on from that topic, like, doesn't really matter?
It feels, I don't know, it feels at least like the tanks are all pretty much the same as they used to be.
Yeah, that feels a little bit more localized to Rogue. Because, I mean, there are a lot of classes that still have their niches. And in fact, I think this tier really makes certain niches shine. Like, this tier was a lot of 2 to 3 target cleave. It was
All
a
of
lot
Blazefire.
of... Yeah, it made certain classes shine extremely hard. You know, like MM Hunter, for example. One of the specs that would have probably been worse in a lot of other tiers. But because this tier just, like, makes MMs so suitable, they just look so much more insane on Warcraft logs.
Yeah, I think it's localized to a few specific classes. Like Resto Shaman is just, there's no way that's a thing. And then
Ellie Shaman too.
Yeah, and Rogue, I think all 3 specs of Rogue, just when I haven't even heard the Perfecto thing of saying I have no niche. It's just every Rogue is just like, this class is just not fun to play. Like, they just made it way less fun to play. And Rogue just had so many. Rogue had Assassination, you know? Like, everyone can kind of learn how to play Assassination, but it also had Outlaw, which was like really different and like really fast paced at times. And then it also had Sub, which was like, you had a lot of cooldowns, but like you could just do the best burst in the game.
Crazy burst, yeah.
You used to do the best funnel in the game, and it's like now they all have to be super boring and easy. I don't know if that was the right decision. I know Mage outside of Frost, I think they're really happy with Frost. This is like the best version of Frost Mage apparently, but like the other 2 specs are like a shell of their former selves. And yeah, I did they go too far with that? You're talking to the kind of people that are always going to argue on having more depth, right? So maybe we don't represent everyone in that way, but I feel like for people who had been playing World of Warcraft and have taken the time to master or gotten really good at some of these specs, I feel like you guys said tanks are good. I feel like a lot of DPS classes maybe don't feel that way.
Yeah.
But I know the new Havoc spec apparently is like very fun. Our players,
that one is like
that.
There's no way that spec is going to look like that in a couple of years, though, right? Like, that spec is in for a Shadow Freeze level of roller coaster where they like keep trying to make it less forgiving,
Isn't that kind of sad,
or
though,
less
Dratnos?
punishing and more forgiving.
Yeah.
And then it's too OP, and then they have to nerf it a lot, and then it just completely sucks for a tier, and then they try and rework it, and then they like lose the core identity, and then they try and bring it back, but it's not the same. Like, money back guarantee that will be happening to Devourer.
You are
over the
so
next 2
fucking right
years.
about that, Dratnos, but it's also insanely sad because like that is something that Blizzard loves to do. It's like, oh, like Shadow Priest, like you're really good at multi-dotting, and Psychic Link is your bit. Well, I mean, it's just impossible to balance. Or like, oh, Sub-Rogue Funnel. Yeah, I mean, that was really cool and all, but we can't have that. And there are just like so many old core identity parts of a class that just cannot exist because it's either impossible to balance or it's something that players might find to be too difficult to play. Maybe that's not the best way to put it, but like it's a little too bit punishing.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are talking about all of the damage and stuff. I must say, I was watching, like when I was in P3 raid leading, my side, I was watching a DH. Guys, this teleport, what is it called? Where you
Shift.
basically blink.
Yeah.
Bro, that is the most broken ability in the game. They need to nerf that somehow. I'm sorry, DHs, but that is
Wait,
just...
why?
I mean, it's like better than a blink, and blink was already broken. So I don't know, like what. Am I the only one who feels that way? Like,
But it doesn't have the shimmer
have you
part
played
to
it?
No, I mean I played it, but I haven't really.
I don't know
exactly what you mean.
I mean, let me tell you this, right? You get knocked away in P2, and you have to soak the tears at the start of P3. Well, if you're a DH Devourer, you just teleport on top of the crystal, and you're already at your spot. Even a mage, I think, struggles a lot more because the blink always takes you a certain direction. It's not as good. It's like there's nothing like this, and then you get like 3 charges of it, and you can, like think of even the last phase of Lura. If you blink, you have to be like on the edge of the tank's circle to blink to the other edge because it's an exact distance. But as a DH, if you're a little bit behind, you're just like choop choop. The fact that you can choose where you want to go, it's like, I guess the ninja in Final Fantasy 14.
An instant Venthyr port.
Yeah, I mean, I get it's cool, but 3 charges. I don't know, guys. That's a little bit too much there.
Yeah, like I guess on Demensius P3, it would be insane too.
They're also just so tanky, man. Like you should see like the damage taken of all the people holding seeds, comparing it to DH and like how much they're healing themselves is just like absolutely insane. They're taking like half the damage or less basically of anyone else.
Yeah, if you think they're OP in raid in M+, they are out of control. They're actually unkillable, and their damage profile is like one of the best possible because like you always.
Are they really good in Mythic Plus?
They are insane. They make it look like shit in raid.
Well, the next patch notes, nerfs are coming, and everyone's gonna hate us. Yeah, this is coming. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's Blizzard's new baby, so
it's the new thing. Yeah, it gets to be OP for a bit.
Also, classes that were good this raid, I feel like this is the best hunters have been in a while. I feel like hunters were so strong.
Yeah, especially like the way Hunter's Mark got changed, like it's really good right now. And the fact that a lot of bosses, you had to have like 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like that's big. Okay. I know we're going long, okay? We're almost at the 2-hour mark here. But I do need to squeeze this question. Was it, I guess, a Hans, or did you guys somehow know that in P3 you couldn't have a monk debuff both bosses? Because what we were thinking is like, yeah, maybe there is a case where you have to have 2 monks to get the debuffs on both bosses.
Mm-hmm.
But we thought, okay, maybe the boss just spawns another one. So as long as you put the monk in the group that goes to the new boss, it already has applied the debuff on the first boss. So then you have debuff on both with just 1 monk. I don't know if you guys somehow, I don't know, data mined, whatever.
Well, actually, so we initially started, we were like in between that because we started progression with only 1 hunter in and we were playing 3 DPS DKs. And then we swapped in the second hunter mainly to deal with ads in P1. But we're like, okay, if the ads are separate in P3, 2 hunters is required, right? Because like you have to have 2 hunters marks. That wasn't why we ran the 2 monks. We ran the 2 monks because we were kind of in between like running a resto druid or a second priest. And we felt that like, especially with pre-nerf glaives, that mobility was really, really good for being alive in P1. We noticed that our Mistweavers were much more alive to glaives than our priests or our druids were. So we were like, we would rather have the healer consistency of just being alive basically when the fight, before the fight got nerfed, that we ran that. Because I feel like even having the second monk debuff in P3, I think is like pretty small anyway, right?
I mean, it depends. The damage is doubled. Yeah, it's a few things, I guess. I mean, we did do the math. Yeah, let me tell you, we did the math because we were debating what to switch to have a bit of extra damage so we can reach P4 easily. A priest definitely much better than a second monk. I'll say that much. But like a second priest. But it is more than you would expect, I think. Like overall, I think if we swapped a druid for a monk, it would give us about 1% on the boss.
Oh wow, like, that's a lot more than I would expect.
Yeah, because and most of it is because of the debuff in the last phase, because the damage is doubled, and you have to have a hunter on both sides, right? And there's a bunch of other things, right? Like small-y things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, monk was pretty good, but priest was even better. It was more like 2%.
Dude,
and you keep in mind, like
was a lot too. It's crazy the tank damage difference. Keep going.
Yeah, I will say, Yips, damn bro, that guy cooked good with the Guardian. Yeah, must give it to him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big bear. Yeah, we were you guys running 2 Guardian before the Monday notes before Mythic?
Oh, before they nerfed Guardian, you mean?
They nerfed Guardian by 30%, like less than 12 or less than 15 hours before the Mythic race started.
Yeah, no, we had druids for both our tanks, and actually one of our tanks, he had a second druid, which became a crest guy, basically. So we did have druids. I mean, we honestly, our tanks had everything. Like they just leveled. I think they had like 25 characters each. So did have pretty much everything. But
but basically Druid was really OP for damage this year, but it was it was like on the Friday announced nerfs, they didn't nerf Guardian's damage enough, and it was like, oh my god, you're actually playing double Guardian. Like it was going to be significantly worse than what it was.
Yeah. I felt it when I was doing my world quests up at what's the last zone? The fourth zone of this expansion, what's it called? The Void something?
Oh, Void Storm, right?
Void Storm, yeah. Like at the top, you do a little bit PvP world quest, suddenly a Guardian Druid appears. Jesus Christ. I never felt the hurt so much in my life.
Yeah, and they didn't even have tier set yet. And their tier set buffed their damage by like an insane amount,
Bro, we were like 5 people hitting a Guardian Druid. He's easily surviving and just, I don't know, locked eyes on me and just ran me down and just killed me. I don't know. There was no outplay.
There's so many clips of those with like Zaryu and Soda Poppin and all these guys. They're just like open world PvPing and they run to a Guardian.
Did you see the log of Belo'ran egg damage with Guardian? It beat everything in our raid except for the Augs and the 2 people they were buffing. They beat every other DPS. That is like, what the fuck is that, man?
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I don't know the names. I think that's only possible because you pop your cooldown and then the new button you get, you hold that for 2 minutes and then you stack that on top. Which, to be honest, it feels like it should not even work because, for example, True Shot also gives you a new button like the glaive toss. But once True Shot is over, 15 seconds later, if you didn't press it, it's gone. So maybe a little bit.
It's a tank, man. People aren't paying attention to shit like that.
Yeah.
It's just really badly designed right now. Like, basically, Guardian Druid, without your cooldowns, you cannot hold aggro because you do like literal Z-dam and it's like some of the worst shit ever. You're super squishy. You do no damage. You can't hold aggro. But then when you press your cooldown, you're like literally the strongest being on Azeroth, and it's just such a terrible design right now. I don't know who the hell cooked up that Apex talent. In fact, like it was a change that they made a week into Heroic Week too, because like their Apex talent wasn't that powerful, but because Guardian Druids weren't playing their 4th points.
You weren't putting points into it.
Yeah, like if Blizzard was like, all right, if they're not going to play points into it, then we're going to make it so that you will have to take it.
Dude,
which kind of defeats the purpose of it ever existing, by the way, just a side note, but it is what it is.
During the race on Belo'ran, they were like, you guys were mid-prog and we got this, the producers like came into our ears and were like, okay, we're not going to show Yips's POV for the rest of progression. And you guys don't talk about his damage or speculate on what he might be doing.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's smart. Whoever made that call, that's smart. I mean, I'm sure they figured it out anyway, but then it got
as soon
spoiled.
as I heard that, I figured out that it must be holding the Wild Guardian on pull and doing the double in the intermission, because like that would be the only thing that you maybe wouldn't have thought of, because you got squishier by doing that. But like, yeah, that's
it got spoiled anyway because some shooter, some camera person after we killed it showed one of our players looking at their logs on their second screen showing the egg damage, and it showed Guardian like 3rd.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, okay, well, if anyone didn't know what was going on, they're going to know now, because there's only one possible way that could happen.
I think the way we found out, I think someone said, oh my God, someone said that Yips apparently said something on TeamSpeak in the sense of like, oh, I've cooked something to do extra damage. And that was it. Yeah. That's all we heard. And then we kind of figured it out, as far as I know.
Interesting. Okay, so don't stream comms.
Got it.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Dude, what do
go.
you guys think about this, like the escalating going dark meta? I was so worried about, like, we reached the most exciting part of the race, and it's like we reach P3, we go dark, right? Like, and then I was worried that was going to be all day, and then it's like if there's a secret phase, like imagine if you guys had lost this race, Max. It's like, are you ever streaming secret phase progression ever again? If you get to that point, it's so. Oh my god.
We wanted to go dark multiple times this year, but there were a few challenges with that. Number one, the first week was so bad that I feel like going dark was like the last thing we ever wanted to do, because I feel like Team Liquid would want to kill us, right? Like going dark hurts your viewership, and our viewership was already hurt, which wasn't our fault, but it was the case. And that felt really bad. And then also we just happened all the times we would have gone dark. We would have gone dark this tier. I love going dark is fucking amazing. When it's like near the end of the night and you're seeing some new shit and you don't want your opponents to see that right when they wake up, it's great. But we killed Belo'ran before dinner and we saw P3 for the first time. They had just gone dark. And then we saw P3 and saw like into P3, and it's like, okay, well, they maybe have seen that when they went dark. And then if they didn't, are we just going to go dark for fucking 8 hours? Like, you can't do that. So like,
Can't do that.
it was just all bad timing. Like, we would have gone dark this year. It's just every time we could have done it, it was just way too early in the day. So we were like, I mean, you just have to send it.
Yeah, I think when did we go dark? We went dark at the very end of that day for like an hour or so.
Wait, before you go on, how did that go
Yep.
for you?
Well, I don't know because I went to bed actually.
Oh,
I went to bed early so I can wake up early, and hopefully you didn't go dark and I get to see a bit what you guys did.
yeah.
You know, so there you go.
The reason
So
I'm asking
I
you
don't
is-
think it went great. I don't know though.
Yeah, I think at least what it showed on logs was that you guys did not see farther than where you were in that hour that you went dark.
Yeah, it might have been that we just wiped to the tiers. Landing.
Exactly, which was super.
yeah.
Okay, so dude, we literally did this on Firac, where we were like going to learn some P2. We were getting out of P1 really, really consistently, and it's the last hour of our raid, and we don't want to give them anything of P2 if we can. We go dark and fucking sprinted down mid. Like, I don't know if it's like the thing you were talking about earlier, where like you feel that your opponent's asleep, so maybe yes, you're more relaxed, but also maybe you don't have that adrenaline. I think going dark is kind of like that. Like the lights are all off.
Mhm.
And you just don't focus. And we did nothing in that hour. And it was actually really shitty for morale. Like, I remember that being like, why the fuck did we even do this? Like, we literally played worse when we did this. And then I wonder if you guys had like, but you weren't even awake, so you don't even know. But like, it sounded like basically the same thing happened to you. And I only remember one time where we went dark under those circumstances, and you went dark under identical circumstances and seemed to also have the same result. And I wonder if there's anything to that.
It could be, yeah. It's also because you're at the end of the raid night as well, right? So people are tired. I'm guessing actually the best time technically to go dark is at the start of your day, I guess, like for an hour or two. But then what are you going to hide? Because then you're going to turn on the streams and show it anyways, right? Unless it's like something that, I don't know. So yeah, maybe there's a bit of both.
Yeah, so I have one other thing just about the secret phase. So we set it up knowing that we set it up when we got into P3, because Bubba's initial idea was, hey, when we get into P3 for the rest of the day, you press this button, everyone's stream goes dark, except the production still has content. They go to some player cams and stuff. We set it up to be not as bad, because like basically the theory is it's not as bad for viewership if you can still like watch the team and hear the casters. You're not offline, right?
I think I know where this is going.
So going into secret phase, it's, we weren't thinking about a secret phase at that point. We talked about a secret phase before progression. I said on stream when we got to the boss during a dinner break when I was doing an ad read, there is a secret phase for this boss. Like, what else could reintegration fucking mean? Like, there is a secret phase, right? But then it was just so hard that I just felt like there couldn't be one, obviously, from our reaction. So I actually hit the button and then I unhit it because I'm like, it's too late. They've already seen it. But like right when we got to that phase, if I wasn't extremely shocked, I absolutely would have went dark for that. But I think in hindsight, that would have been a big mistake, because I think everyone would be insanely mad.
I think that was probably the biggest moment in Race World First history. It has more views and it had more cultural impact than like any kill, right? It was just like people are celebrating for a boss that didn't die, and it looks insane, and it was just like perfect storm. So I'm kind of glad I didn't do it. But if I could go back, I probably would. Because like imagine you guys being you there's a secret phase, and you also have no idea what it looks like. I don't know if that would have mattered at all, but like, because it could have been like a Lich King-esque thing. Maybe you go to bed anyway, but like, I feel like it would have been much more scary too.
Yeah, I mean, we would have definitely gone to bed there. It was already really late for us when you guys reached it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see that. I noticed it because I was like, some animation happened, and then it still was fine. Yeah, I will say, you're saying it was a great moment. Oh my God, I have never felt such a roller coaster in my life, actually, when you guys first saw that phase. Because I'm like, oh my God, we just, we had like a 0.4, I think. And then this is like PTSD from Dementius. And then when I see you guys reaching 0, I'm like, it's over, man. Oh my God. And then I see, oh, what's happening? And then I still think, though, man, this boss has been so hard. There's no way. It must be some RP, whatever. Like, it's still dead, probably.
Yeah.
And then when it's not, dude, I don't know. If I had the heart monitor, I would. I don't think. I don't know. Must have skipped a couple of beats there. Yeah.
It's literally the meme where it's like, oh, it's so fucking over, and then it's, oh, we're so fucking back. That you literally went through that in real life.
That was
even for viewers. It was,
and we
like,
did the opposite. The opposite happened for us. We were like, oh, we win. Oh my God, fuck, no, we don't win. And then we're like problem solving the phase a little bit. We're pulling the boss again. It's like hard to get back there. I think in hindsight, we probably should have made like a higher damage swap immediately, but also it's really hard to make swaps when you think like, oh, we can get there, and maybe it just dies the next time we get, and you have not as much time left in your day. And then near the end of the day, it's like, oh my God, we're going to fucking lose, like after all of that. And it was just the complete opposite reaction from us. Like I was so depressed that night. I'm like, bro, the only clip of me that is going to be remembered from this race is celebrating a race we did not win. And that's like fucking humiliating. And yeah,
I would call it humiliating. I think it's awesome, honestly. Like that moment, I don't know. Like you don't get those often. So
yeah,
okay, obviously it didn't happen, but even if you had lost, like that is like a unique moment, because there is many races to win and lose, but how often do they make an actual secret phase that's kind of good as well, right? They've done secret phases, but a lot of them are bad.
And a lot of them are known. How often is this the first secret phase that has ever actually been a secret? Is the question. Like,
I mean, well, how much was this always the back of you guys' mind? Because like this was
when we were killing it 0.
Absolutely 0. Okay.
Like by the time we started progression, we were positive, and by the time we got to the end of the progression, we thought there's no fucking way there is another phase to this fight.
Yeah, I was convinced there is no phase as well. Like people said, "Oh, maybe there's a secret phase." I'm like, no way, bro. Like this boss is so hard. Like this feels like the end. That's because we had data mined some things, right? But I don't know. You just get the feeling from doing the fight. Like,
it makes sense. Like the final pizza slice is coming in, and the boss is about to hit 0%. It's like this has to be it.
It's also like it was an 8:30 basically end rage, which it's on the lower end maybe. Like a lot of times they do 9 minutes, but rarely they go over 10 minutes nowadays. So I thought, okay, what they're gonna do a mythic only phase that's like only a minute, and I guess they did. Yeah, that's what they did. So
it was exactly a minute. Yeah, and like, dude, I feel like Blizzard high rolled so hard because all of them are sitting there probably just grinning ear to ear, knowing this shit is going to happen. And then it's also Easter Sunday of all days, and the boss fucking comes back to life and looks fucking insane, and it casts heaven and hell at you, and you're like running around a room. Like, I feel like Blizzard, this could not have possibly ended up better for them. Like, this is the best PR they could have possibly gained when they made that decision.
Actually, Easter was today for us Orthodox.
Oh shit. Okay.
representing.
Never mind.
That's right. Yeah, our Jesus just came back, so there we go.
Yeah, it's what the
Big
first
day.
Sunday after the first full moon after the vernal equinox
I have no
or
idea.
something. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, one thing I also want to say, when you play the fight, you don't even see the boss really in the last phase, but it is massive. I don't even know if our players know. Like when you first phase in, the boss comes down from the heaven, and it's humongous. It's like Dimensius size, and it looks so cool. But I think that's a problem Blizzard somehow has to tackle, that you don't even see it because most players play a little bit like angled downwards. So I don't know if people even saw how cool that looks. So yeah, if you reach that phase, maybe at the start, lift your head a little bit to see the boss.
Wait, did you
Yeah.
did you guys also do the tech where you could like zoom your camera out a little bit in P1?
Zoom your camera out a little bit in P1.
there's like a
I don't know
script
what
you can
you're referring to.
run to be zoomed
Yeah.
out a little more.
Yeah, there's for
Yeah.
whatever reason, like the old
Okay.
camera distance max factor thing, you could like zoom your camera out a little bit.
I don't know if this it was known. Probably. I mean, I don't know about it. I have no idea.
Okay, I assume so because we were literally doing it and talking about it on stream. So that sounds like something that would go over to you guys. But it made seeing the glaives in P1 definitely easier to zoom your camera out, and that was also something that made me wonder if that, because like they removed every other way to do that and they were fine with that, but it also seems like something they'd remove. But also the fight becoming easier when you do that, obviously it's not like way easier, but like I feel like that's also something that
Yeah.
would be the problem.
I think a problem is, yes, I think the camera and also the graphic settings. Like when the developers tell you to change a graphic setting to see a mechanic, that is a bad sign a little bit, right? So I think, I don't know, like things like the stars, or what do you call them, the constellations.
Yeah.
In I'm sure we had some players that had not the greatest settings and maybe got hit a couple extra times, or took them time to fix it, or whatever it is. Like the fact that graphic settings play a pretty big role quite consistently across multiple tiers is not great. I don't know, maybe.
Well, so
something
the
to look
reason
at.
that happened was we were talking about on stream, and they obviously watch, I think, more of our progression. I think they're just awake for more of our progression. And like we turned our settings down in P1 to basically nothing, because if you don't do that, when you do the kicks, there's like this giant purple plume, which used to be the exact same color as the old glaives. And then also it was harder to see the boss's memory game because there's all this crazy cool animation around it. So we basically did that. But the problem with that is it makes the constellations in the last phase basically invisible. So we were just we were perma wiping the constellations, and then Blizzard's watching this and they're like, so you might want to like turn up this one setting so you see this. And then we do that, and now everyone can see constellations. And it's like, dude, that's so dumb. Because like maybe if our settings were normal, that wouldn't have been a problem. But like the fact that you had to turn them down for P1, like, is a problem. Visual clarity in this raid is definitely worse than it has been in recent times, especially Belo'ran. Like, dude, people have awful frame rate on Belo'ran because there's so many millions of animations going off with like light and dark, like bright, vivid animations all over your screen. Like your frames on that fight are terrible.
Paladins as well. Oh my god, I don't know.
The shield's coming at you as a dispel, but also there are shields that will kill you if you get hit by them, and they're all bright yellow. Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah, they
raid
changed
too,
that too.
because because like in War of Fin, they had this whole thing that I thought they were going to do going forward, where they have hard outlines on every single
Right.
frontal or swirly, right? Because like ever since Undermine, that was like a big emphasis, and for some reason that's like completely gone. This is a huge thing in M+ too. The Dreadlords in Nexus Point would do a frontal that like is just some faint.
It's the same as the Belo'ran
dusty-
frontal. It's like
Yeah,
you
it's
can't,
literally
it's
the
not got
Belo'ran
clear
frontal.
edges. Yeah.
Yeah, and like if you compare it to say Gambit, right? Like Gambit, the first boss, he does like a frontal slam, right? And it has like hard to find outlines so that you know exactly where the safe spot is. But for some reason, like all that is gone. I don't know if it's just like some vibe coded shit, or if it's like a borrowed power from War of Fin. That's what I've been calling it. It was just like something that we wanted to do in War of Fin, and now we're kind of like moving away from that. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
Borrowed power. That's good.
All right, guys. I gotta go get ready for raid soon. So
Oh yeah. All right,
yeah.
cool.
This has been great there, Roger. Thanks so much for coming on our show and talking.
Have I broken some record with how much yapping I did?
Is this the longest
be.
one we've done? It's up there.
We've had some pretty long
Probably.
ones, but yeah, this is definitely one of the top 3 at
Okay.
least.
Yeah.
Great.
That was
Yeah,
my goal.
super insightful. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. And do we do like a Patreon thing or something, or is
Oh
that?
yeah. Let's see if Frank gave us a Patreon question.
I mean, we probably can go next on the Patreon, I think.
okay, we'll do that
Unless-
next time. Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
go get ready
okay,
for raid.
okay.
Yeah.
I've been
Alright.
pushing it.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks so
All right.
much for coming on.
Yep.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Roger.